A farewell to a classic rivalry, a championship, and a BCS Bowl all wrapped into one festive package. The Big 12 Championship features Oklahoma's Ryan Broyles, a finalist for the Biletnikoff Award as the best receiver in college football. He'll frequently face off against Nebraska's Prince Amukamara, a finalist for the Thorpe Award as the top defensive back. Showtime in Texas. Texas goes to Pasadena. So many memories of Big 12 championship games.
K-State got the end zone up.
End zone out of bounds. Touchdown, touchdown. Got it. The Aggies upset Kansas State. Gonna throw it. Got it wide open, baby.
And so fitting that the final championship game features two rivals connected across time.
He's all the way home.
Across borders. Before the Republic was even formed. But territory is still turf, home soil, and the schools that stand on it are symbols of the proud states they serve. So when these teams meet, there's more than a game on the line, even when the Big 12 title is at stake like today. No, this one is about legacies and long-held grudges. This is Exhibit A for rivalry, for what the word truly means. This is Oklahoma versus Nebraska, the land, the people, and their teams. You are looking live at Cowboys Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Tonight, for the final time, Oklahoma and Nebraska will play for a Big 12 championship. Folks, we welcome you to the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship on ABC. This, of course, is one of the great rivalries in the history of college football. And the winner tonight advances to the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl in Glendale, Arizona, where they are expected to play either the Big East representative or Stanford from the Pac-10. And what a day it has been already. Our championship matchup is all set, and what a high-scoring game we are in for on the night of January 10th. Congratulations to both Auburn and Oregon, who will play for the national title. Good evening, everybody. I'm Brett Musburg with Kirk Herbstreit. It's a fans matchup. Going to be a real high-scoring game. Can't wait to get to Glendale.
I cannot wait for that game. We have a great game tonight, but in Glendale, we got to match up that a lot of people wanted to see. The big, powerful Auburn team coming out of the SEC against the speed of Chip Kelly and the Oregon Ducks. It's going to be a lot of fun to break that one down for the next month or so.
Well, let's talk about the one tonight, the Big 12 title. Taylor Martinez, you were down to the field with Bo Pelini. What's the status of the Nebraska quarterback?
They're going to obviously give him a chance to go tonight, and it's really important that he stays healthy. He missed the game last week against Colorado. He's got a turf toe and a high ankle sprain that he's trying to deal with. They said he's had a great week of practice. His ability to run effectively is not only important, but also his ability to throw the ball. I think Oklahoma's going to crowd the line of scrimmage and try to take away Martinez, Roy Halou, Rex Burkhead in that Nebraska running game. Martinez is going to have to make some plays with his arm.
Hey, we had some bedlam fun last week, didn't he? I'll tell you, Landry Jones really grew up in that second half.
I think that's the best way to put it. He really had a chance to show his resiliency, and I thought he stepped up and delivered early in that game. Got to give Oklahoma State a lot of credit. They really disguised some coverages, created some problems, took away a lot of the underneath routes, and I think it affected Landry Jones in the rhythm that he was trying to get into. And of course, there's a great play there by the Cowboys. But how about the second half, especially in the fourth quarter? Finds Cam Kenny for a big touchdown, and then the next series they come back with a great call by Kevin Wilson and find James Hanna. I think it affected Landry Jones in a positive way. And Nebraska, one of the toughest pass defenses in college football, they're going to take away all the underneath routes. I think Landry Jones' decision-making, running the football, and getting the ball thrown downfield vertically the way they did late in the game last week will be something that's big for the Sooners.
Bo Pelini would probably prefer a defensive struggle here.
Yes, he would. I think he would. Anytime that Bo Pelini can get his team, a team that loves to possess the football and play great defense in that kind of game, it plays into his favor.
Herbie, we have a special musical treat here tonight. The world premiere of Parachute's new single, Something to Believe In. Song available for you to download free at ESPN.com/music. tuned for John Saunders from our Times Square studios for the Nissan pregame shift. Coming up next. They have poured down here tonight in Arlington, Texas here.
And they still came out on top. Should be a great matchup. Right now, let's join Brent Musburger.
John, thank you very much. Just a wonderful scene here tonight in Arlington, Texas here at Cowboy Stadium. Crowd well in excess of 75,000. They have poured down here from, of course, Lincoln, Nebraska, all the great Cornhusker fans, and the Sooners now coming out with all of their fans here from the state of Oklahoma, just up the road in Norman. A team that won a wild bedlam game against their state rival, Oklahoma State, to earn their right to represent the South. This, of course, the last year of a championship game. They will go to 10 teams next year, round robin, no title game. Ready to come out behind the Sooner Schooner now. The Oklahoma Sooners looking for still another Big 12 championship and another meeting in a BCS game. Nebraska pours out. And now the Sooners. Red is the color of the night, folks. This has been the Nissan pregame shift. Kickoff for the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship, Oklahoma, Nebraska, coming up next.
The Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship game on ABC. Brought to you by Nissan, proud partner of the Heisman Trophy.
This stadium, of course, will host the Super Bowl coming up, and just across the street, the Texas Rangers were in the World Series against the San Francisco Giants. And they have poured down here from the state of Nebraska, 646 miles from Lincoln. Norman, a little closer, 197 miles. Two of the great programs in the history of this great game, both with more than 800 wins, 12 national championships between them. And their coach, Bo Pelini of the Cornhuskers, is down below with Holly Rose, the third member of the team tonight. So let's go to Holly.
Coach, you've joked this week that you wanted to wait until the last possible moment to decide what to do at quarterback. What decision have you made?
Taylor's going to start, and he's ready to go. He's feeling good, and obviously he's our starter. That's who we're going with, and he's ready to rock and roll.
Your other major injury, Niles Paul, means everything to you in your kick return game. How do you replace him tonight?
Well, you know, you can never replace a guy like Niles, but we got capable guys that are come in and gives them a chance to step up. They did that last week. I expect them to do it again.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. And to update everybody on the Oklahoma injuries on the left, DeMarco Murray injured in the Bedlam game, and he's practiced well this week. Nelson returns to that secondary for Oklahoma, so both are expected to play here today. Coach Bob Stoops will have the ball first. Outstanding record in Big 12 championship games. Real good referee and an outstanding crew here tonight. Scott Novak, Michael Cooper's the umpire. These fellas are going to have their hands full. This will be an intense rivalry. Two young men from Youngstown, Ohio, and do they know how to compete? Pelini and Stoops. So settle back, everybody. Final piece of the BCS puzzle is about to unfold. This is Madu from just across the goal line. Good return, and a penalty flag comes flying on the opening kickoff.
During the return, holding on the receiving team, number 56. 10-yard penalty. First down.
So we have Landry Jones now coming out.
Brett Landry Jones, we talked about in the open, what he was able to do, faced some adversity last week, 468 yards with 4 touchdowns. We'll see if he can gain that momentum where he left off in Stillwater. Remember, against Nebraska, matchup zone, which essentially means a lot of man-to-man coverage that's very physical. He'll have to be patient tonight in the passing game.
The pistol offense with the quarterback 4 yards back and the tailback directly behind it. Millard is number 33, the fullback. DeMarco Murray runs in that direction, and Nebraska slams him down. As we take a look at our impact players presented by Dr. Pepper, he is a good one.
Yeah, he sure is. DeMarco Murray's going to give it a go. Of course, a little bit dinged up last week. He has to make it happen. And Ryan Broyles, a Blitnikoff finalist.
DeMarco's second carry, and this will put them in third and mid-range with Pierre Allen making the stop. Folks, remember a year ago? Do you remember how Nebraska choked this game down, kicked 4 field goals, forced Texas to go right to the final second before they relinquished? Well, look for the Pellinis to try and shrink this game down here if they can do that. It is 3rd and 5. 4 down linemen. Landry steps away from pressure and throws incomplete, however, over Murray's head, and it's 3 and done.
You know, even when Nebraska doesn't come up with a sack, they want to make Landry Jones uncomfortable. And that time they were able to do that with Meredith coming around from the outside, Jarrett Crick getting some penetration, just making Landry Jones feel their presence and try to disrupt his rhythm with his wide receivers.
2 fine punters here tonight. Way averaging better than 41 yards. Rex Burkhead, the all-purpose back, awaits this. 25 elects not to go for the fair catch, and he is down at the 22-yard line, and the second flag of the night.
Some early jitters here. Both teams feeling the energy in this stadium.
Just a fabulous, fabulous arena for a championship game. It is going to be, if you're lucky enough to have a ticket to the Super Bowl, folks, you're going to enjoy it in here.
This is made for the big event.
There is no foul for 12 men on the receiving team. First down.
So here we go. Now we have Taylor Martinez, who was injured in the Texas A&M game when his own lineman stepped high on that ankle, and wouldn't you know it, he also injured his toe on that play when it scuffed across the turf down at College Station. Hello, big hole in the middle, 9 yards as they go up the gut, and Jonathan Nelson makes his first stop. As we take a look at these impact players, Herbie, presented by Dr. Pepper.
And Roy Hallou's going to have a big night taking some of the pressure off of Martinez with that injury. And, you know, with Niles Paul down, Kyler Reed in the passing game from Nebraska against a defense from Oklahoma that's determined to stop the running game. Reed, 25's got to have a good night as well.
Deflected, incomplete on the pass, and that was Rennell Lewis, number 56. Now, we all talk about the other linebacker, Travis Lewis. This youngster played well against Okie State, too.
Yeah, they've moved him up to defensive end because of the speed that he can provide on a pass rush, and he's held up very well. Very explosive off the edge to be on the other side of Jeremy Beal.
Martinez, remember, is an outstanding runner. Number 3. He has rushed for almost 1,000 yards this year. You wonder about his running ability with the ankle. So he'll come back with Burkhead for the first down. So Sean Watson upstairs calling the plays here tonight for the Cornhuskers. And, of course, this speaks to the Nebraska strength. Get first downs. You've got a great kicking game. Rely on your defense. Don't let this gaudy Oklahoma offense climb into high gear immediately.
Big part of this game tonight will be Nebraska's offensive line, not just sustaining blocks with the defensive line. They've got to get a hat on a helmet at the second level and be able to take care of those athletic linebackers from Oklahoma.
Hallou, number 10, back into the backfield. That's the read option, and he slipped down into the backfield. And did he turn it over? Oklahoma comes out of there with the football. I thought he was down early, to tell you the truth.
He was down, and ball came out later, and Oklahoma picked it up.
The runner was ruled down, the knee down on the ground, second down.
So he gave up ground on this, Herbie.
He also limped off the field. I don't know if he got tripped up, and he's down, clearly down before the ball comes out. But more importantly, he's off on the sidelines, and Burkhead now is into the game.
Travis Robinson would be the other running back. Nebraska would probably press into service if Helu can't return soon. Play fake, and here comes Martinez in a foot race. Moving quite well, incomplete on the throw, and there was enormous pressure by Ibeloy. Joseph Ibeloy, a sophomore from Garland, Texas, was coming.
It's great coverage. He's trying to get the ball to Kyler Reed, who's coming in motion and coming underneath. They're trying to have a little misdirection to try to confuse Oklahoma. Look at the great coverage. And right now, Taylor Martinez has nothing to do with the football. He waited until the last second to try to get it to Reed, but that's good coverage by the Sooners. This offense is not accustomed to being in third and long situations. They need to be more third and manageable, third and 33 or 4.
Watch how the offense brings the play clock down. Down to 5 seconds now. Now they snap. Take seconds away. Hit. If that's a fumble, Nebraska has recovered it at the 19-yard line. That was Macon who came in there, jarred the ball loose, and Searles pounced on it, the left tackle.
This is Oklahoma's wheelhouse. They get you into third down. They create a little bit of confusion. They show blitz, and then they only ended up bringing 3. Macon with the speed. Oklahoma, that's their great strength, is bringing pressure, and Macon that time got around and got home to the quarterback.
One of the finest all-around kickers in the country, Alex Henry, booms it, and Broyles is back with a fair catch signal. Ball's on the ground, recovered by Oklahoma. A save as the punt was muffed by Broyles on that play. And that was Hurst, a defensive back, getting back on top of it. Look at him alertly jump on it. Saved the moment for the Sooners. Well, Kirk Herbstreit, I'm Brent Musburger. Holly Rowe telling us down below that Helu told the trainer he was hit on the outside of the knee, but he's good to go. Good news for Nebraska. 1st and 10 now. DeMarco Murray, and the Sooners check the sideline for the adjusted play call. DeMarco wrestled down at the 39-yard line. Levante David and that gang, I'm telling you, they're tough back there, Herbie.
Big battle up front between Oklahoma's offensive line and the athletic and physical Nebraska defensive line. Oklahoma's going to have to do the best job they've done all year, blocking up front to help Murray out against his style of defense from Nebraska.
Use the jet motion and come right back, determined to get number 7 going.
Well, they are, as a staff, determined to run the football. If you look at Nebraska, when they put Gomes in and Haig to go along with David, they essentially are playing with 4 defensive linemen and 7 defensive backs, all at around 180 to 200 pounds. When you see that kind of matchup, you've got to be able to run the football.
Back to the pistol. They haven't shown the diamond formation yet here tonight that they use frequently against Okie State. Swing pass, Murray, great receiver, first down, tiptoes down the sideline. They come up with a big play. Cassidy comes up after a 19-yard gain.
And this will pick the tempo up for Landry Jones, but this is what Sooner fans wondered if they'd see. Will Murray be in the game, and will they give him space to make plays?
Here they come. Off a fake incomplete to Broyles. They were setting a quick flanker screen with Kinney, the blocker, set in front of him.
One thing about a great receiver like Ryan Broyles, he wants his touches early to kind of get into the flow of the football game, and Haig has been on him. They've mixed up different defensive backs. It's not as if one guy is following him around, but Broyles wants to touch early.
Dennard and Amakamara, perhaps the best pair of corners that any team has in college. Option look, pitch to Hannah, the tight end on the inside, and he is to the 35-yard line on that play call.
Well, I tell you, Gomes coming from the left to the right. Watch how he closes right there on that play. Now, to Hannah's credit, he kept fighting to try to pick up more yards. But this defense, they may be a bit undersized when it comes to the hybrid safety linebackers with Gomes and Haig, but they can still hit you.
They send young Finch, number 22, in and split him out far to the right. Now they bring him with that jet motion look, and they give it to him on an end around, basically, and Nebraska was ready. There's Gomes and David, the two you mentioned, Herbie.
Absolutely, and when you're going to run east to west, and I know Finch has got speed and he's coming in motion, full speed, but Cassidy does a good job, Gomes does a good job of containing, and then here comes David, who's the leading tackler, cleaning it up. But a good job that time by Nebraska's defense and not getting outflanked by the speed of Finch.
Now here's something you can expect to see from Oklahoma all night. They're not overly concerned about the Nebraska offense. So on this fourth down, they're not going to pooch it. They're not going to play field position. They're going to try to pick the first down up with Landry Jones. Takes off, down. Nebraska football.
And guess who got in? Last year, you and I watched Ndamukong Suh dominate the Texas offensive line, and this time it's Jared Crick, number 94, the leader of that defensive line. The Oklahoma decides to go for it, and one thing about Crick, if he gets isolated against Eichert one-on-one, he's going to win that battle. He pinned his ears back and made a huge play for Nebraska. They get good field position.
Ndamukong Suh, a year ago, Herbie, you mentioned him, 4.5 sacks. It was unbelievable, the performance he turned in here. 9 solo tackles, now playing with the Detroit Lions. Hellu is back on the field, as Holly reported. And a big hole, bust to daylight. Midfield, 40-foot race. Free, one man to beat. Nebraska strikes first. 66 yards.
As good as Oklahoma has been on defense this year, they've given up more big runs than anybody in the Big 12 this year. Jeremiah Searles, the left tackle, gets a great block. And how about the speed of Hellu, who just checked himself out of the game and tells Holly Rowe he got a little bit of a ding on the outside of that knee and comes right back into the game and gives the Cornhuskers a big lift.
52 consecutive extra points this year for Alex Henry. Folks, that's a story down there. That's the first time in 2 championship games here in Texas Stadium that Nebraska has scored a touchdown. Highway 66 all the way.
The Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship game on ABC. Brought to you by Dr. Pepper. There's nothing like a pepper. The new Ford F-150. Visit bcstailgate.com for your chance to win the ultimate tailgate F-150. And Bud Light. It's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go.
Aerial coverage is being provided by the MetLife blimp. See how MetLife can provide the coverage you need. Start building your personal safety with MetLife today. The big screen here, high above the field. The receiver, Trey Franks, back deep for the Sooners. Five yards deep, he'll take a knee and back to the touchdown, Herbie.
Well, Nebraska's coaches told us the importance of their linemen getting up to the second level. Watch the left guard, 68, Keith Williams, do a good job initially with Frank Alexander, then picking up the big block right there on Austin Box, and the great vision that time by Hellu. He started to the outside, came back in right off the block by Keith Williams, and Jeremiah Searles' block, outstanding, and it's a textbook the way you draw it up with Deshaun Watson as he got ready for this game.
They'll come from the left hash. DeMarco Murray still on the field. He already has carried 4 times for 12 yards here tonight. On first down, Landry Jones fires to the far side, complete, and that was Broyles making his first catch of the night.
First time we've seen the timing between Jones and Broyles in this game. It's going to be an ongoing battle for Ryan Broyles to try to battle for position, to try to get open against this very physical man-to-man coverage from Nebraska.
Now a much tighter look at the formation. And on second down, they run Murray into it. for about 1.5 yards, and this is going to bring up another third down for the Sooners.
Well, these Nebraska linebackers, Brent, when they see an I formation, as soon as Landry Jones comes back to hand the ball off, they are immediately tacking downhill to try to take away DeMarco Murray.
Dennard backs off. Incomplete, and the receiver appeared to be down. Broyles.
Yeah, he was not touched, Brent. I think he just slipped. He was trying to make a little bit of a move on Gomes to inside to the outside, and he just lost his footing and fell on his back. Unfortunately for Oklahoma, third down and short. Who you looking to if you're Landry Jones? Of course, Ryan Broyles.
So that is the second 3 and out for the Sooners here against this Nebraska defense. This is the kind of game that Bo Pelini wanted. Way is back. Fielded by Marlowe. Marlowe to daylight. Great field position. They can go to work, eat a little clock up here in the first quarter. You're watching the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship between Oklahoma and Nebraska on ABC. A dandy on Monday night. Doesn't get any better than this one, folks. Jets and the Patriots at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The standings, the AFC East, they tell you the story. Deadlocked at the top, 9-2. The Jets are unbeaten within the division. And the Patriots are 2-1. So the Jets looking for more. They're going to miss Jim Leonard, though, folks. That is a big loss in that secondary. Rex Burkhead, the running back, who scored the touchdown and picked up about 2 yards. And let's go to Robert Flores in our Times Square studios in New York for an update. Robert?
All right, Brent, here's a taste of what's going on the ESPN family of networks. On ESPN, ACC Championship game, Virginia Tech leading Florida State 14-10 at the end of the first quarter. Christian Ponder not in the lineup for the Seminoles. And UConn and South Florida tied at 3. If the Huskies win, they're playing in a BCS Bowl.
Thank you, Robert. Cat formation. Burkhead, remember, threw 2 touchdown passes. One out of this formation, I believe, against Colorado. And he is short of that first down marker. Nelson makes a stop. We go down below to Holly Rowe.
Nebraska's athletic trainer, Mark Mayer, told me that Taylor Martinez spent about 5 hours a day the last week in rehab trying to get ready for this game. For his sprained right ankle, he would work on an Alter G treadmill, which has pressurized airbags to lower you to 1% of your body weight on the ankle up to 80%. He did work in the pool, and then for that left toe that's a sprained joint, he had him pick up a marble and set it down over and over to do modality exercises for the toe.
Yeah, and Holly, they're telling me, the Nebraska coaches, that toe was bothering him more than the ankle injury following the Texas A&M game. Incomplete on that pass as he rifled it to the left. Brandon Kinney, the intended target.
And what's interesting is, they told us the same thing, the toe is a concern, but he's not run the football yet. He has 1 carry, which essentially was a sack, -9 yards. So it's one thing to have him in lineup. It's another thing to see how effective he will be, because his explosiveness early in the year, that was the identity of Nebraska's offense through the first 5 or 6 weeks.
Well, they did not eat up much time, did they? But here comes their ace field goal kicker, Alex Henry, 16 of 17 this year. On its way. Henry puts them up 10-0 with a 53-yard field goal. We welcome you back to Texas Stadium. Nebraska with the lead. Kunalik with the kickoff. And another knee in the end zone. This one by Madu. Herbie, what a leg Henry has.
How fitting to be in an NFL stadium and watch Alex Henry kick the ball. We've been watching him do it for years, but this is from 53. Look at that. Look at that. That's good from 63, maybe 70. He crunched that ball.
Now there's a little bit of heat on the offensive side of Oklahoma. They've got to find a way to move the ball against this defense that Herbie's been describing. And if you want to watch these linebackers attack that line of scrimmage, they're going to try Roy Finch right now as the running back. Basic 4-2 look and a nickel. Landry to throw out of it on the slant. So the first time we've seen the slant, Broyles his second catch of the night, and it's good for about 9 yards.
Watch the linebackers shifted right at the last moment to pick up the formation where James Hanna was lined up on the left-hand side, and it opened up a great window there for Jones to make that throw.
So Kevin Wilson probes the middle for the first time with that slant, and they gave him the first down. Now they run the misdirection draw play, and Finch made the most of it after stumbling to the 32-33 yard line. And David again, number 4. What a linebacker he is, a junior out of Miami.
They play with a lot of speed and tenacity. You can almost feel that Carl and Bo Pelini challenge this Nebraska defense. Listen, Oklahoma's going to try to run the ball, and we have to be there to be able to stop them.
Now on 2nd and 7, they're going to come right back with the run. 3rd and 5, and perhaps a little stubbornness here as David now has more than 130 tackles this season.
Now the offensive line is not having a chance to deal with the speed of David, and they have no chance of getting up to try to get to him. And by the time they try to get up to him, he's already gone by him to make the play against the run.
This is Pelini's tempo. Oklahoma has not even been able to get to the high-speed offense. Can they set the incomplete? Forced to punt again.
Now the battle coming into tonight for Oklahoma was trying to win the one-on-one battles against the physical man-to-man pressure from this Nebraska defense. And through the first quarter, the win obviously would favor Nebraska. They're getting pressure. They're disrupting the rhythm between Landry Jones and his receivers. He has nowhere to go with the football when he reaches back to throw.
So this is the 3rd punt on 4 drives. And remember, on that 4th drive, they went for it on 4th down and failed. So the offense for the Sooners not doing a thing. Burkhead is back, makes the fair catch at the 24-yard line. Well, now for our Big 12 Bowl eligible teams, brought to you by Dr. Pepper. And Herbie, there are a bunch. I would argue right now that Texas A&M closing out with 6 victories. They beat both of these teams down the stretch. Maybe the hottest team, and they are headed for the Cotton Bowl here, where they're going to play, well, perhaps LSU. We'll see about that.
5 teams out of the Big 12 South getting bowl eligible. Had a great year as an entire division.
First down and 10, and Hellu is back on the field. Thrown for a loss that time in the backfield by Price Macon, the senior from Corpus Christi, Texas.
I'll tell you, Price Macon continues to impress me. I mean, he is a defensive end. He's 250 pounds, and they've had to move him intentionally down to the inside. He doesn't have the size to deal with these Nebraska offensive linemen, but he has the quickness. It's the second time we've seen him be able to penetrate Nebraska's offensive line and be able to make a play in the backfield.
Martinez is up under center. Kyler Reed, number 25, steps behind it. Play action, and Martinez going to put it up. No. Going to be sacked instead. Ronell Lewis, big number 56, Herbie, making another play.
Lewis is helped by a blitz from the linebackers of Oklahoma, and right now Brent Venables is dialing it up and calling the blitz at the right time. He mixes it up with Austin Box from one side, Travis Lewis on the other. Nebraska couldn't pick everybody up, but when they drop back and have to deal with pass protection, that is not a comfortable time for Nebraska's offensive line. They freed up Lewis. He was in there to make the play. Good job by Venables.
Nebraska wants to be careful here. Penalty flag. False start. This will cost the Cornhuskers.
False start on the offense. Number 78. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
That is the first penalty against Nebraska. And you know how Bo reacts to any penalty.
His right tackle.
It's attack on his manhood.
Exactly. His right tackle was rocking. Marcel Jones was moving without a doubt. And this is where the old draw of the screen always comes into play for Nebraska.
Spread the field. 3rd and 22. Sooners licking their chops, and the Huskers elect just to run out of it with Helu down at the 19. They'll live to play again. They'll go to the punt. Travis Lewis makes the stop, and here comes Alex Henry.
First time really that Oklahoma's defense has been able to pin Alex Henry and Nebraska deeper in their own territory, and could potentially set up some pretty good field position for Ryan Broyles.
Yeah, good point. Broyles gets any kind of a return here, or they'll be close to midfield. He's standing on the Sooners side of it. And Henry booms it off. Fumble! Second time. Huskers dive for it. But the Sooners again. Remember, there was a muff punt. Now there's a tug of war in underneath. And it separated the field judge right there on top of it. Ryan Broyles reached back and appeared to recover his own muff.
You mentioned it's the second time. He is so anxious to try to make a big play. But give him credit. He's crawling on the ground trying to get to the ball. Stoddard comes diving in. Big contact, but somehow Broyles fights for that football and just got there before Stoddard did to be able to get that ball back.
Finch and Murray. And here is our first look at the diamond formation. They get extra lead blockers. They guarantee some one-on-one on the outside. But Nebraska doesn't care about guarantees of one-on-one. They got the 2 best corners of any college team in the country, they say. Now they'll motion out of it. Got one-on-one. And Nakamura, they'll throw against him, and a great move that time by Cameron Kinney. Kinney drove off number 21 and came back for the completion.
That is a major accomplishment by Landry Jones, and more importantly, Cam Kinney being able to get that separation from Nakamura, who's one of the top corners, if not the top corner in college football. He did a good job of taking him deep, selling it deep, and then coming back to the football.
16 yards for the 1st and 10 for the Sooners. They're on the Nebraska side of the 50 now. Motion, and Landry's going to keep it up on top. Nobody open. He'll take off. Slides down to the 40-yard line. Picked up 4.
This Oklahoma offense is out of sync. It's just out of sorts. And right now, going to the diamond formation and even having the motion with Finch, it's the best rhythm and best offense we've seen so far early in this football game for Oklahoma.
And they go back to it again. And they run Finch, the freshman, out of it. And he comes free for the first down. Squirts through there.
That's what Roy Finch has built a name for himself on as a true freshman. His ability to looks like he's going to be down. He doesn't give up. Second, third effort, picks up the first down.
So they're going to stay in this formation. Kevin Wilson says, why not? It's working. DeMarco Murray's going to cut back himself. And he's to the 30-yard line, picking up about 4. Haig makes the stop.
Kevin Wilson, I think, making a good move here, just trying to change it up here as a play caller. This goes all the way back to last year, some of their struggles with Landry Jones against Nebraska.
Hand off to Finch, who's brought down. Carl Pelini trying to stay on top of his game on that other side. If the offense goes to the mock speed, it is very hard for a defensive coordinator, of course, to substitute. And he has to keep an eye on what the Sooners are doing as he calls the defensive signals, but more importantly, the substitution pattern. Third down now. Here is Finch banging ahead toward that first down marker.
If you're just tuning in and watching Oklahoma for the first time, you're talking about an offense that averages 336 yards a game through the air. They're known for their ability to spread you out and throw, but they feel maybe a bit overmatched against Nebraska's defense outside.
Well, Herbie, we come to the end of the first quarter, and quickly they go for the first down. How about that? Nebraska leads at 10-0. This presentation of the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Huge play. Pierre Allen helps clean it up, and Oklahoma ends up missing on 4th and 1.
So the first quarter was dominated by Nebraska. Oklahoma twice went for it on 4th down. Twice they failed. They were 1 of 6 on 3rd down. Now, you would find it hard to believe, but Martinez is 0 of 3 throwing the ball. But if you just joined us, a 66-yard touchdown run by Roy Helu and a 53-yard field goal by Henry has boosted the Huskers to a 10-point lead. Now, after the 6-yard gain, they come back 2nd and 4. Burkhead is slammed down at the line of scrimmage as we take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. And again, this is certainly the kind of game that Bo Pelini wants, dominated by defense.
Yeah, he's been able to do that because they have shut down Landry Jones and his group of wide receivers, and they've won the battle at the line of scrimmage against Oklahoma's ability to try to run the football. It's a big 3rd down here, Brent.
And Herbie, Jones is 5 of 9 for 51 yards. Martinez, we told you, is 0 of 3. But here he is in a passing situation. Here's his 4th pass, knocked down, incomplete on the play as Jamel Fleming jumps it.
Well, Fleming's probably one of the quickest defensive backs that Oklahoma has, and that time he was able to break on the ball. This should favor anytime Martinez is in an obvious passing situation. Oklahoma is cheating up. Fleming gets in there to knock that football away from the big tight end Cotton.
Broyles, who has had all kinds of trouble tonight handling punts, is back deep again. And in this building, Henry can really get him up in the air, and it's very busy back in the end zones. Broyles fields it cleanly at the 18. Shakes the first one and then out of bounds at the 22. So can Oklahoma mount a scoring drive? We'll find out when you come back. Well, tomorrow it'll all be official. 8:15 tomorrow night on ESPN. The BCS teams will be revealed. Oregon and Auburn obviously headed to the championship game. And then 45 minutes later, find out where everybody's going. 9 Eastern Sunday, the Bowl Selection Show. The winner of this game will be headed to the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl on the night of January 1st following the Rose Bowl. So remember all of the BCS games this year on ESPN. So Landry Jones struggling, deflected, intercepted. Courtney Osborne on the deflection, and the Cornhuskers are in business again.
It's like there's maybe a little bit of a discussion there about a possible fumble maybe towards the end of the play, but Terrence Moore definitely deflected that football up into the air.
So the officials with Scott Novak, the referee.
Brent, there's tight
the ruling
coverage
on the field is the ball was taken away from the runner. Oklahoma recovered. 1st down, Oklahoma.
Wow, towards the end of that play, right, as Osborne was going down, Ryan Broyles with a great effort, and it looked like he got it out before Osborne was down. You talk about not giving up on a football play. Ryan Broyles, by the way, the intended wide receiver, chases down Osborne and comes in from behind and rips the football out.
So he saves the moment for the Sooners. And the play was stopped.
I'm going to take another look at this, Brent.
Yeah, instant replay in the college game.
Timeout Nebraska. First charge in the first half.
Regardless of the call, great effort by Broyles, a superstar. But showing the effort, it comes down to whether or not Osborne's knee was down before the ball is taken away.
Watch the left knee. Left knee. That appeared to be down.
It sure did.
This is going to be a tough call for instant replay. That left knee may have been on the ground. This is going to be very close. Remember, this is not a challenge like they use in the National Football League. The fellows upstairs wanted to take another look. You be the official at home. What do you think?
Super slow motion to finally be able to see that it did look like that left knee was down. I agree. But I just want to appreciate the effort by Ryan Broyles.
The last play that the runner was down by contact.
Down by contact.
That's it. The left knee was down as Broyles was yanking the ball away. And now he is going over to see. And of course, the Nebraska fans are never happy when a play looks like it might go against them. But this is a tough call. Ruling on the field, remember, is that the ball was turned over. Indisputable evidence to reverse the call on the field. So here we go.
But the theme continues for Oklahoma, and not just that it was an interception, but not getting away and separating from man-to-man coverage. Broyles was covered very well. A defensive lineman Terrence Moore ended up knocking the ball down. But Landry Jones at this point, through the first quarter and working ourselves into the second quarter, they are not getting good separation. Broyles matched up with David, who's a linebacker, the leading tackler. See how Moore got his big hand up to knock that ball down? But Broyles does not give up on the play. Here comes a convoy right at him, too. But he shows a lot of heart, a lot of effort to try to make this play. But as we've shown you, it does look like Osborne's left knee did touch.
If Makumara had taken Broyles out with a block, they might have scored a touchdown, but he didn't want to have a block in the back on the interception, so he kind of pulls away from it, understandably so.
Why we have this time. The adjustments that Kevin Wilson made when he went to the diamond, they ran the play. They had 7 plays on their previous offensive possession. They ran the football out of that diamond 5 times, and they had some success. Remember, it came down to a 4th and 1 that they didn't execute on. Be very surprised if they don't try to get back to that diamond to be able to establish the running game and then take some shots downfield. But the underneath passing game has been taken away completely.
So the conversation continues between the replay booth, and of course we'll remind you, and coming up on the half, we've got the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship tuition giveaway halftime throw. George Hayward and Chris Valier go head to head. Chance to take home $123,000 in tuition. So, wow, that could be a wonderful payday. This, of course, our Big 12 championship, the last Big 12 championship. Nebraska heads to the Big 10 Conference next year. There will be 10 teams, as Colorado is going to the newly named Pac-12. And the 10 teams in the Big 12 will play a round robin. Every team will play the other one, but with 10 teams, it's not legal for them under the NCAA rules to have a Big 12 championship game. So it'll be the regular season. And now here comes Scott Novak with the announcement.
After further review, after the interception, the runner was ruled down by contact with possession of the ball and a knee down. It'll be Nebraska's ball, 1st and 10 at the 12-yard line.
A docile Bo Pelini, bottom right there. That's a good call. Can understand that.
This is the first time I've seen Nebraska fans applaud a referee all season long. Unbelievable.
And a great call to get the timeout, to give them the time to review that. They are rewarded, of course, by getting the call right. They get their timeout back. And now we see if Oklahoma's defense can step up here. Remember, Taylor Martinez last series had a chance to run the football and ran it, but Burkhead looks like he's going to come in for the direct snap.
So they are going to go to the Wildcat formation. Burkhead was very successful with this. Remember, he threw out of it against Colorado. Legate, as the clocks are all being reset. And out wide to the right is Taylor Martinez. There's the young man, caught the deflection. First down at the 12. That's Martinez. He's the split end to the right. And now they're making sure that.
Correction, 13:28 was the correct time. Okay. 13:28, thank you.
They'll take the 3 seconds off now.
He's one of the few quarterbacks that looks good when he moves out to wide receiver. When a running back comes in to run the Wildcat.
Burkhead, and there's a penalty. Penalty flag is thrown by the umpire at the snap.
Offside on the defense, number 44.
And that is Jeremy Beal. one of the best in the country. He's offside on the play, and so Nebraska inches closer, now down to the 7-yard line because they can get a first down at the 2.
The way things are going for Oklahoma's offense, this is it's a big sequence of plays here. I can ill afford to get down 17-0 here in the first half.
They stick with the Wildcat. Read option Burkhead. He muscles his way behind the right side of that offensive line.
Trying to find big Keith Williams at left guard. Essentially just a power play from the shotgun formation with a direct snap to Burkhead. Burkhead, who played high school quarterback his sophomore and junior year. You mentioned the 2 touchdown passes last week against Colorado. First 2 attempts in his college career, 2 touchdowns. It's a pretty good deal.
Got a second down and about 3. The penalty helping greatly here. They're going to stick with that formation.
Timeout.
Timeout's
Nebraska.
called.
Second charge of the first half. Timeout on the field.
So we'll take a break at the 12:20 mark here of the second quarter. Nebraska shutting out Oklahoma for the Big 12 championship.
The Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship game on ABC. Brought to you by Dr. Pepper Cherry with a little kiss of cherry flavor. Chevrolet. And Aflac. Find out why over 440,000 businesses choose Aflac at aflac.com.
Well, for Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship postgame coverage, including the trophy presentation, go to big12sports.com following this telecast. Let me clarify one thing. It was not the replay booth that generated that. It was a timeout by Bo Pelini. But he got it back over there as a result of it because it was a good challenge. So that's what gave him a fresh set of downs. They ruled down by contact. And now Burkhead looking to pass, stumbles, touchdown! Burkhead hits Kyler Reed, the sophomore from Shawnee, Kansas, for the score. That's his 3rd touchdown pass in 3 passing attempts.
That's not bad. That's the way he gets started, right? As a Wildcat quarterback coming in, everybody thinks you're going to run the football. And I'll tell you what, Kyler Reed, who has amazing speed for a tight end, watch him as a wingback on the right. Watch him settle down, back away from the defense. See how he just kind of settles down? And even a running back / quarterback like Burkhead appreciates a receiver that breaks down his route like that in the open space.
Henry adds the extra point. Well, that's making the most out of your first completed pass. Your quarterback is 0 for 4, but your running back goes 1 for 1 and a touchdown. Herbie, it is time for tonight's Aflac trivia question.
All right.
I want you to think roulette. You don't quite have a 50% chance on this one. Think of that. Who's won the most games overall? Oklahoma or Nebraska since 1996 when the Big 12 Conference was formed? Think about that one.
I will.
Lad.
I will.
Right after this kickoff, we're going to get an update
All
from our man in New York, Robert Flores. Brennan Clay and Madu are back deep. Oklahoma, Herbie, needs a spark here, something to get going. The game is being dominated by the Cornhuskers. And let us go right now to Robert Flores in New York. Robert?
All right, Brent, Taco Bell studio update. Connecticut playing for a Big East championship, taking on South Florida. Consecutive plays, there were interceptions. The latter turns into a 55-yard pick 6 for UConn. Lawrence Wilson goes the other way. Huskies up 10-3 on ESPN2. ACC championship game on ESPN. Virginia Tech and Florida State at the half.
Of course, Robert, if Connecticut's win holds up, it'll be up to the Orange Bowl to decide if they want UConn to play the ACC. If not, they will go to the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl and play the winner here. Landry Jones, confusion a little bit in the backfield, but they make the completion.
Best play of the game.
Best play of the game is right.
Kevin Wilson called that baby again.
A little misdirection there.
A little confusion there by Landry Jones on which way to have the play fake, and it maybe confused Nebraska a little bit, but one of the best passes so far for Jones.
Here's DeMarco Murray.
So that's what they have to do. DeMarco Murray and this offensive line, they've got to be able to win that battle. And they've had their lunch handed to them in his first half. They're not going to have success with the dinking and the dunking and the rhythm passing between Jones and his receivers. And if that's not the case, you've got to get physical, which this Oklahoma offensive line has not done all year. They've got to get physical and try to get a push against Nebraska.
27 plays and 109 yards for Oklahoma. 18 and 84 for Nebraska. But the scoreboard's one-sided. Here comes Murray again. Crosses midfield. And out of bounds, Gomes.
Now we're starting to see a little bit of rhythm here. And I'll tell you, the tight end, Rattery, 47, does a good job sustaining his block against Pierre Allen. Millard coming around, leading the way. And also Ryan Broyles involved, picking up a nice block.
Madu into the backfield, number 17. So it's been a steady diet of Murray and Finch. And now it'll be number 17 on 1st and 10. Play action. Downfield, down the middle. The freshman. Touchdown, Oklahoma. Kenny Stills takes it in. It's a 49-yard scoring strike. Jones to Stills. Waiting for the one play to ignite the offense. Landry Jones and the Sooners come up with it. Jimmy Stevens. Now 46 of 46 this year on extra points.
Kenny Stills is on the outside, and this play is set up by the runs that they just had some success with. Here is Stills. He's just going to come down and get behind Austin Cassidy. Cassidy in the middle third of the defense cannot let anybody get behind him. A little bit of a play-action fake to Madu, and they go right over top of Cassidy. The ball underthrown a bit, but because of Stills' speed and the fact he was going right by him, he was able to adjust to the football, and Cassidy looks late. By then, it's too late. And Stills, the true freshman, does a good job of focusing and making that big catch.
That was right on the money, wasn't it?
Sure was. Yep.
And Stills, a freshman who had his hands full last week at Oklahoma State, but had played very well. Was very impressive last spring for the Sooners. Has been coming along, and he's going to become a big-time receiver down the road for Oklahoma.
And Landry Jones' best friend on that drive wasn't Kenny Stills. It was the running game. They got a little bit of some rhythm finally, and they set up the play-action pass, and they got the ball thrown downfield. Those are the two things you have to do against Nebraska. Run the ball and have success in your vertical pass game.
O'Hara kicks it off, and it's going to be fielded by Marlowe. Marlowe from the 7-yard line. And a lane to the 30. Okay, Herbie, you want to take a guess?
I think the easy answer you would assume is Oklahoma, so I'm going to go reverse psychology and say Nebraska.
Well, here, remember the green? It wasn't 50-50 because, believe it or not, it is dead even.
Wow.
How about that?
That is awesome.
Is that unbelievable? Look at that.
Oh, my gosh.
139 and 53 since the Big 12 was formed.
Now,
there are your numbers. So here's the tiebreaker unfolding in front of us.
That's beautiful. I would have never guessed that.
And I certainly wouldn't either, so I thank research back in Bristol.
Yeah, no doubt.
I don't have those things on the tip of my tongue. Taylor Martinez now outside, and that's Reed. And Reed picks up a first down at the 46-yard line. Nice.
Well, we talked about with Niles Paul being down. I mentioned as an impact player, I thought Kyler Reed had to step up, the sophomore. Now he's 6'3", 230, and he plays tight end, but he's kind of a slot receiver, and they flex him out as a tight end. Runs a 4.5, and he can be a mismatch against safeties and linebackers, and it's a guy that Martinez is looking to tonight.
George Hill, our stats man, just told me that is the first completed pass for Taylor Martinez here tonight. Remember, Burkett threw the touchdown. There is the handoff to Halou, and he is out to the 48-yard line with Austin Box.
That last drive, it all started, of course, with what looked like to be a fumble. Great effort by Ryan Broyles, but the knee after the review was down. Nebraska kept the football. And Rex Burkhead trying to be able to make a play as a Wildcat quarterback. The receiver to the far left there in the slot is Reed. And he works on, break his route down right there, kind of gives Burkhead enough room to be able to find the space, and he throws it in for the bullseye and a touchdown.
Hello, short of the first down. Ronnell Lewis, another stop. And this will be an interesting third down call coming up here for the Huskers.
Finally starting to see Martinez. Looks like he's settling in a little bit. A couple series ago, he ran the football. I've watched him on a couple of his fakes. It looks like he's exploding through the Oklahoma defense, even carrying out fakes. So maybe he's starting to settle in a little bit.
Play action, in trouble. Here he is on that ankle, reaching for the first down, and Ronnell Lewis, holding him back.
That is a great play in the open field by Lewis, because I'll tell you what, Brent, Taylor Martinez, he didn't look like this at Kyle Field. He's looking like he looked early in the year as far as his acceleration. And I thought he might get to the corner and get outside of Lewis, but Lewis shows his speed and strength by pulling Martinez down.
How big does Bo Pelini think this moment is? Burkhead comes onto the field, replaces Helou. Fourth down. Remember, the Sooners have gone for it. Twice on fourth down have failed. And timeout. Bo Pelini on the far side will use one here. It is 4th and 1. You want a defensive field position game, yet he doesn't want to give the ball back right away to the Sooners. There are some coaches watching right now who are saying, punt the ball, Bo, punt it. Today's aerial footage was provided by MetLife. With strength and security, MetLife can help you tackle whatever comes your way with guarantees for the if in life. Well, we have one of those if fourth downs coming up here. Nebraska will line up with Burkhead as the running back and the crowd coming to its feet. They're going to play action. Martinez going to throw it. Got a man wide open. A beautiful play call, and McNeil battles inside the 10-yard line. That is shades of what the Texas Longhorns did in the first Big 12 championship game against Nebraska.
Brent, it's also shades of what we saw last week by Kevin Wilson, the offensive coordinator from Oklahoma, calling it against Oklahoma State. A great time and a gutsy call by Sean Watson to find McNeil getting behind coverage and Quentin Carter for a huge first down.
On fourth down, play action and throw for it. Burkhead back in the Wildcat. Picks his way for a couple of yards, and second down coming up. Plenty of time.
We were kind of kidding about that throw by Burkhead. It's not bad average. Three attempts, 3 touchdowns. But you know, if you're an Oklahoma defensive back, you're looking at film all week. You're aware. You've been told by Brent Venables, hey, don't forget 22 now. He can throw down inside the 10-yard line, and now already in this game. So that's in the back of their mind, which also helps when you're just trying to run the football with Burkhead.
Brother to brother. 2 of the 8 children who grew up in the Pelini family in Youngstown. Second down and goal. This will be Martinez throwing back of the end zone high. McNeil again the target, and now it'll be 3rd and goal. Quentin Carter, who picked off a pair of the Oklahoma State passes, had coverage on McNeil that time.
I'll tell you, right now McNeil and Kyler Reed are giving the safeties and linebackers all they can handle. If that ball is thrown low, McNeil again had Carter beat for a touchdown. The ball just thrown high by Martinez.
Quincy Anunwa, a freshman from California on the field for the Cornhuskers, a freshman wide receiver. They have 4 targets here on this 3rd down for Martinez. Offensive line gives him plenty of time. Can't find a target. Now he's in trouble. Cuts back. Shakes a would-be tackler. Throws to the middle. It's intercepted. Can't throw back across your body. Picked off by Travis Lucas. Oh, the young man's got to learn on that. That is so dangerous. Across your body to the middle of the end zone.
You and I were feeling the same thing there as we're watching this play unfold. And by the way, he's got his wiggle back. He's got the juice back with his speed. Good job of trying to keep the play alive. Look who's trying to chase him down. Ronell Lewis throws the ball back. And I'll tell you, as a quarterback, even though he's a freshman, as soon as that ball left his hand right there, he wanted to have a string on it to be able to draw it back. And Travis Lewis, one of the veterans of the Sooners defense, makes a huge play.
Now, Oklahoma will try to make Nebraska pay for that mistake. First down and 10, trailing them by 10, just inside of 7 in the first half. DeMarco Murray coming working the sideline. It's incomplete. Second down, and David with coverage over there. I mean, he was all over DeMarco Murray.
And David has been in great coverage. Kamara, Denard, Gomes. These guys are taking away the underneath routes. Remember the last drive Oklahoma had? It started with their running game, and then eventually it led to their passing downfield.
Second down and 10.
See how tight the coverage is by the Huskers.
Corner show man. Great grab for the first down. Coming in underneath with that pass to James Hanna, number 82. He scored a great 76-yard touchdown in the fourth quarter.
Look at this tight coverage by David again. I mean, if you're Landry Jones, you better put it right on the money when you're throwing to your receivers.
Move the chains. Jones looking far side, dumps back to Hanna over the middle. He's got great speed. He showed it last week. Ball loose on the sideline, out of bounds. They were the last team to have possession, so they will retain the football.
The other adjustment that Kevin Wilson has to like is after that last series, I think there's confidence now in the Sooners offensive line. Look at the time that Jones has to throw. The last couple series, the Oklahoma offensive line starting to assert itself much better for Landry Jones and his Sooners offense.
So here's your diamond look. Murray and Finch both there. Takes the swing, looking downfield, now drops it off and complete to Finch working that sideline. He was a safety valve and the chains moved.
Remember, they just put this offense in the last few weeks and they're still trying to work out some of the kinks with the play-action pass game. You can see he's out of sync with Ryan Broyles, and you mentioned a safety valve. Finch continues down the sideline and finds a little opening, and Landry Jones finds it.
Remember, it was the interception in the end zone that started this drive from the 20-yard line. Now Murray, and there's a penalty flag.
Personal foul, chop block on the offense, number 33, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Trey Millard, good-looking freshman fullback from Columbia, Missouri, but got a little bit low on this block.
Well, Millard's got a great future, but you're right, Pierre Allen off the edge there. He just is going to try to submarine him and take his knee out. Line judge saw that, hauled over it, and makes the right call.
Madu is in, number 17, into the backfield for Oklahoma. We've had only 3 penalties so far in this game. Bobbles the snap and then hands it to Madu. And Madu dives ahead.
You know, Madu's got some live legs. People forget his best game of his entire career was when he filled in 2008 for an injured DeMarco Murray. He got hurt in that opening kickoff against Missouri and stepped in and ended up having a great game. 15 carries, 114 yards with 3 touchdowns. So he's capable when he steps in there.
And he's such a good athlete, they made him a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Then they switched him back here, the running back. Whips a fastball right down the middle to Trent Rattery, his first catch of the night.
I love the looks of these tight ends from both these teams because they have size, but you can see the athletic ability. He caught that football strictly with his hands.
And they go quickly looking for the first down, and Madu can't get it for him. Gomes plugs the hole, and here's another one of those 4th downs coming up, and the Sooners don't hesitate. They send offensive personnel right onto the field. They're not going to attempt a field goal or anything. They're going to give themselves an extra blocker. Jarvis Jones tried to get on. Now he's got to come back out.
In the Last time they tried a quick snap on 4th and short, and they got stopped.
So this time they take the full amount of time, and Kevin Wilson calling plays up in the box, sends it down to the sideline, and now they're ready. And now Landry Jones on the bootleg, easy first down. Out of bounds at the 17-yard line. Terrific play action.
Watch him sell the fake. Great job of just that little bit of a slight pause to sell it to the backside defensive end and the outside linebacker, Josh Williams.
Now they're going to go quickly. They're in the attack zone now. Here's the handoff to Murray. They're down now to the 15-yard line, and here comes second down.
Prior to the snap, 12 men on the defense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
So there is that late substitution. When they get down inside the 20, the Sooners have gone up-tempo here the last couple of weeks. That's what they like to do, fast and faster. So here they come now. First down and 5 after the substitution penalty.
Blaney brothers jumping up and down, trying to get a timeout.
They have one left. The Sooners have their timeouts. They have all 3. 3:39 to go here in the first half. Landry play action, high and incomplete.
Smart. Both his receivers on that side, Millard and the big tight end who's been making a few catches so far, Rattery, both covered very well. He just threw the ball away. Picked up 5 yards on first down because of the penalty. So now they're facing 2nd and 5. Poise of Landry Jones will come into play tonight, just like it did last week when he faced some adversity.
Oklahoma with 245 yards of offense to 146 for Nebraska. This will be the 39th snap. The Sooners had 107 snaps last week against Okie State from the pistol. Handed off to Murray, and he appears to be short of that first down. So here we come up with a 4th down again. Do not see any sign that Stevens is going to come onto the field here. They are down. Let me check that. That's 3rd down. I think I was wrong here. This is 3rd down now. 3rd down and 2.
Sooners working a little bit of clock themselves now, trying to make sure they got to the right play here on 3rd down. Bob Stoops called a timeout, ran out of the field.
Remember, he had 3. He's got 2:45 left in this half. Trailing by 10, and we could talk about the day as we come down the stretch. BCS championship game as we look at today's big picture, brought to you by Sony, and of course the 2 big games of the week. Out in Corval, look at that duck with that Tostitos sack there. He knows where he's going. Why, Oregon's going to the championship to meet up with Cam Newton and Auburn. All right, Herbie, here's your bonus question. Who's going to be the favorite in Glendale?
I'm going to say Auburn.
I'm not saying I know the answer, because I don't.
I'm going to say Auburn.
Yeah, probably.
The hype of Cam Newton coming off a Heisman Trophy win next week. I think it'll be Auburn.
I think I agree with you. What the SEC's won 4 straight.
I think it will have some.
You think we'll have some points? You think so? January 10th now, folks. Remember that. A little bit later, and it's over on ESPN this year. 3rd down and 2. Jet motion. Landry tosses. Incomplete. That's waved off. That's incomplete. Hannah, the intended target. And now we've got a 4th down, and now the field goal unit is coming out. Jimmy Stevens trots out at the field.
Pretty good coverage again by Gomes, and these windows continue to be very tight for Landry Jones. I think this, Bob Stoops known to typically go for it whenever he has a chance, but the way this game has gone back and forth, and the way it was one-sided early, if Jimmy Stevens can hit this field goal, you're within a touchdown. Considering the way things have gone in the first half, Bob Stoops has to go for the field goal here.
Yeah, 26-yarder. We'll put it down to 1 score if we can hit this. Stevens was hot last week. Stays hot. Well, this is what started it all. The interception, Herbie.
Yeah, they came up with a big play after the mistake by Martinez, throwing back against his body over the middle of the defense late. which is a no-no. Lewis came up with the interception. Then the great call by Kevin Wilson on 4th down. And I thought Landry Jones did a good job. Not the fastest quarterback, but he really sold it and had a lot of room to be able to pick up the first down. They don't pick up the first later in the drive, and they have to settle for the field goal. It's really a 6-point swing.
Absolutely. Just what we expected with these two great rivals. Remember the old days when the Big 8, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Nebraska, Oklahoma, they'd play for the championship right around Thanksgiving.
A little bit of
Chris
snow
Schenkel,
coming down.
Bud Wilkinson.
The best.
It was great.
Brent Musburger making a few of the calls. I remember that like it was back in high school.
Did a few. I think it was a real, when Barry Switzer closed out against Osborne, I think we had a miserable, miserable day in Norman. We had a 7-0 ball game, if you can believe it.
Remember you made it. Joel Makovica had a big call one time for you, I remember.
Yes, indeed. Now let's go to New York.
Welcome to our studios here in Times Square. John Saunders and Jesse Palmer. And things have played out pretty much the way everyone expected they would.
Wins today. We're likely to see Auburn and Oregon in the BCS National Championship. We'll preview that game, plus the ACC and Big East still up for grabs.
It's all coming up on the Capital One Halftime Report.
So we look forward to hearing from John and Jesse. Jesse has been solidly in Auburn's corner. As I should point out, my partner, Kirk Herbstreit, picked them to win the West back in August. And I know a lot of the local folks down there in Alabama picked on you for that call. Yeah. And look at what you got. Auburn going all the way to the national championship.
They made a great run, didn't they? I mean, they were challenged 6 or 7 different times. I mean, they needed a last-second field goal to beat Kentucky and Lexington. But they put it all together today. Played their most complete game beginning to end and put that exclamation point really on this season.
I think they've been down by double digits 4 straight times as Nebraska hands it off here to a Hello fumble. Sooners have got it. With 2 minutes almost left on the clock, they've got a scoring opportunity. Travis Lewis, who made the interception, has now recovered the fumble. Travis Lewis has given them another scoring opportunity.
This has been a problem all year long for Nebraska. They have 37 fumbles on the year, and they've only lost 12 of them. This time, they end up losing another one, and it's Travis Lewis again, as you mentioned, Brent, one of the leaders, one of the captains, the guy that has to make plays when it looked like maybe Oklahoma would be happy to be down 7 going into half. Now they got a chance to try to tie it up.
Now the Black Shirts will try to dig in for Nebraska. Murray's the running back. Oklahoma with 2 timeouts. Jones with great time, slant leg, there's the post. Touchdown! The freshman Kenny Stills. Turn it over, go up on top, 31 yards. And they're an extra point away from tying the Big 12 championship.
Just make sure he crossed the line before he was down. A great job and a great effort by Stills.
Right knee. Right knee.
Yeah, it looks like
hang on, everybody. Right knee appeared to be down. But it's close. It is real close again. At least in this instance, Oklahoma has to think, well, if we didn't get it on the catch, we're close enough we can bang it in. Herbie, what do you think?
Well, first let's appreciate the effort here. This is a true freshman and a great job by the offensive line. Watch how Stills works to get open. Look at the time for the quarterback. That route was intended to go to the outside, but he broke it off. And because of the time that the quarterback had to be able to make the throw, look at his time. He has all day. The route is designed to go to the outside. He breaks it off and gets away from Denard and then tries to extend into the end zone. Boy, this true freshman has got a huge future.
Back judge Scott Vaughn is right there on top of it.
I think he's down. You're right. That was a great look, that last one. Looked like he might be down at about the 1-yard line.
After further review, the runner's right knee was down at the half-yard line. It'll be first and goal at the half-yard line.
So the power backs will come on.
In college football, great. First quarter, Nebraska is just dominating this game. And that interception.
Killer.
Turned the momentum, turned the energy of the game around, got Oklahoma to maybe have a little bit of belief, changed the atmosphere in the stadium around, and all of a sudden it's like you're watching a different game.
You cannot give this offense a life.
Right?
And they've done it.
They do it like they could score on you in a hurry.
Interception and a fumble. Now DeMarco Murray will check in. Millard is right there. Here's your tight power formation, and Landry Jones dives in. There's no question about this one. Line judge quickly will jump in. There's the signal. And now they're an extra point away.
I always like to do this because it's the quarterback in me. The offensive line in the last 3 series deserve a ton of credit for making adjustments and coming off the ball. It all started with they finally got their running game going, and I think it helped them in the pass protection. In the last 3 series where they've been able to generate their points, they've really controlled things up front. That's where it starts.
Kenny Stills, who made that play, Herb, he's from La Costa Canyon High School, and he was a 4-star recruit by both Rivals and ESPN. And just as a high school player, he had 45 catches for 914 yards and 10 touchdowns a year ago. So you're looking at a blue chip prospect right there.
And he's just so smooth. You know, his route running. What I'd love to see are just the instincts. That last play, even though he didn't score a touchdown, the way he came off that route, didn't give up on the play, and Jones finally found him.
Take a look on this fumble and see if Hurst doesn't make a great tackle here and force this fumble. Wow.
Goes low, knocks the ball loose. Lewis is there to, of course, make the play, and then it was the big play. The time that Jones had, the adjustment by Stills, tries to reach for the end zone, of course, comes up a little bit short. They call it back. So the effort, clearly the knee is down, the right knee touched. They bring it back to the half-yard line. And the very next play, the quarterback Landry Jones gets in, and we are tied up at 17.
10 points on the last 2 drives following those turnovers by Nebraska. So the Cornhuskers let the Sooners right back in it. Minute and a half to go.
Travis Lewis right in the middle of both those turnovers, the interception and then the fumble recovery.
That was his 3rd interception of the season. He also leads the Sooners in tackles and has all season long, and now he's recovered that fumble which led to the touchdown. So here we go. Did some good kickoff work here tonight. Coming out to the 20. Well, a reminder. When the visitors arrived, they said they came in peace. They lied. ABC's The returns Tuesday, January 4th on ABC. And
January 4th.
January 4th. That's before the championship game.
Yeah.
You know, after the Rose Bowl. So
yeah, we have time to watch.
We can watch that.
Yeah.
Okay. Taylor Martinez brings the Cornhusker offense out, and Husker fans probably a little down right now for dominating this game, and then those 2 critical turnovers. And here are the Sooners. Minute and a half. Fumble on the snap. Botched play, and Alexander takes him down. And it's all Sooners right now.
Yeah, Bob Stoops is already calling a timeout, and the reason he is, Nebraska is not built for this kind of moment in a game. They need to run the ball and try to kill the clock and just try to get it to halftime.
Let's check in with Holly.
Well, this Oklahoma sideline, guys, has been remarkable. They were down 17-0. Landry Jones had just thrown an interception, and the next time he went out to take the field, he was fist bumping his offensive lineman. He was actually laughing and joking, trying to get them loosened up. There hasn't been a single moment of panic over here, even though they were down 17-0, and that composure has helped get them right back in this ballgame.
Holly, it's interesting watching this Oklahoma team the last few years with Sam Bradford. And, of course, now with Landry Jones taking over this football team, they have kind of the same demeanor. And when you talk with the coaches, they'll point to Josh Heupel. And they talk about the kind of player he was at Oklahoma and the kind of coach he's become and how he really tends to rub off on his quarterbacks and how the quarterbacks, of course, rub off on the rest of the offense.
2nd down and 12. Read option and hand it off to the running back. And out to the 42-yard line, Austin Box.
Watch the quickness.
There on Burkhead.
Jeremy Beal was not even blocked. I mean, they potentially were going to block him with Ricky Henry, but he slow played it, and I think he underestimated the speed and quickness of Rex Burkhead, who gave him a little shake and just went right around him. Well, Oklahoma had what they wanted. They had him pinned back and just running the football. They had timeouts to use.
The other direction, Martinez keeps it this time. And Jeremy Beal in the middle of that stop.
Keep an eye always with Taylor Martinez. Has the ankle, has turf toe. Definitely moving around a lot better than the last time you and I saw him was against Texas A&M a few weeks ago.
We're 2nd and 7. Inside of a minute. They'd love to get Henry a chance. And then Burkhead again. That'll set them up with 2 yards for the first down, but most important is that clock running right now.
With the way Henry kicked that first one, you get it across midfield and you got a shot.
Yeah, and Bo knows it. 3rd down and 3, and he wanted that timeout. So Bo Pelini and Bob Stoops, they grew up Youngstown, Ohio. Bob is a little bit older than Bo, and there are the coaches who have come from that town. Used to be a big steel city. And there's Cardinal Mooney High School, where they played in the field, where they learned. And I'll tell you, the high school coach that they played for, there was Stoops. He was a class of 78 before going to Iowa. Bo, the class of 86 before going to Ohio State. So the cradle of coaches has moved from Miami, that's the school, all the way to Youngstown, Ohio.
One of the greatest towns you'll ever visit. And you're coming with me this summer to play bocce ball for a high school fundraiser that all these coaches come back to. It's
Great.
for Cardinal Mooney. You would have a ball. Bob Stoops reminded me and said, tell Brent upstairs today he's got to come in this summer.
Wasn't the coach Bucci?
Yeah, Coach Bucci.
Yeah.
Legendary coach in Ohio.
And he's got a bocce tournament.
Yes, he does.
It works for me.
Yeah,
3rd down and 3.
You'll love it.
I'll be there. A little of that Italian red in Youngstown?
Oh, plenty.
Oh, God.
Plenty.
There's Martinez now, throws far side, got the first down. They're coming down the field. That's Kenny.
They pick up the first down. They're out of timeouts. They're going to fire the ball here, kill the clock. It's all about trying to get Henry into position for this field goal attempt. Good job here by Taylor Martinez.
Now, do you throw one here with 25? Do you try to pick up a few more on the sideline? I think maybe that.
I think you have to try to use the size of your receivers towards the sideline, and knowing that there's still enough time. If you can just pick up 5 or 7 yards, you fire it, clock it, fire it down, and try to get Henry out there with a chance to get a shot at a field goal. Still a lot of time with 25 seconds.
On 2nd down, Martinez got it. Incomplete. The line judge says incomplete, that McNeil was out of bounds. Made a great effort on the ball. Watch his feet.
And Brett Hurst jumps the route and tries to undercut the ball. Great concentration. He's out of bounds. But right there, DeMontre Hurst, I think, thought he had a shot at interception. What focus by Mike McNeil to be able to hold on to the football, but clearly he's out of bounds.
Here's a 3rd down. Trying to pick up a few more. Alex Henry already with a 53-yarder here tonight. This would be longer than that. They go to the middle. Clock stops. They've got to spike it as quickly as they can. They certainly have got a field goal now. Kyler Reed gave it to him. That was a great play call by Sean Watson. Worked the middle of the field. Clock stops. Now you slam it down. You got 11 seconds. That was just really good play calling.
A great call and a great job by Taylor Martinez of executing this offense and getting them into field goal range. Great call right behind the linebackers in front of the safeties. It's been an area that's been a concern for Oklahoma all year. How about Reed using his body? And let's not forget, after the big loss on the first play of this drive, I think Nebraska was ready to just try to get out of here tied up, but the big play by Burkhead got him back into being more aggressive.
A 42-yarder for the lead. Perfect. Now, if you go outside and you take a look at Nebraska's equipment truck that has traveled down from Lincoln, the driver of this truck, well, his favorite player is Alex Henry. There it is on both sides of that diesel. There is number 90. And he has just nailed a 42-yarder to go with his 53-yarder.
I think he's the best kicker I've seen. I don't know if I've ever seen a college kicker kick the ball as consistently as he does. That ball went over the net and into the stands. It gets high and it splits the middle every single time.
A year ago, remember, he came out to warm up for the game and he was kicking punts off this big television screen of Jerry Jones, and the PA announcer came out. Your attention, please. You are not allowed to aim punts at the big screen.
Right. Oh yeah.
It was the voice of doom coming down on Henry.
Exactly.
You know, I think I agree with you. He's as good a kicker as I've watched.
I've ever seen. I mean, he just doesn't miss. He doesn't buy into the mental games. You can try 3 timeouts on him, try to ice him. It's not going to work.
53 and a 42-yarder. And the Cornhuskers take the lead. Let us check in down below with Holly.
Well, guys, the best thing about Alex Henry, some of the coaches tell me, he's a normal guy, just a football player. You can tell by the shoes he wears. He doesn't wear one of those weird, fancy kicker shoes on the kicking foot. Just regular cleats. He's a normal guy, football playing shoes.
That is.
If she believes that any kicker is a normal guy.
I was going to say. He's an athlete.
So what about the fact that he wears number 90?
They're like relief pitchers, right?
Exactly. So Oklahoma will take a knee here. Wasn't this the way it should be? Huh? Oklahoma and Nebraska.
Yeah. Perfect.
For a half.
Great first half.
Come on back, everybody. Let's check in now with Holly and Coach Stoops.
Well, Coach, your team was down 17-0. What started to change so you gained some momentum?
Well, we got some turnovers. Offense hit some big plays. That's what you got to do. You know, we made some plays on offense. Again, defense with the turnovers and some stops. That's how, you know, you got to play as a team, and we started doing that.
Seems like big plays have been the problem for Nebraska. How do you tighten up your defense?
What's that again?
You've given up a couple of big plays that they've scored on. How do you tighten up your defense?
Well, that's it. One play early in the first quarter. The rest of the time, the run game, we played it well. So just playing it with discipline.
Thanks, Coach.
So there we have it. 20-17.
Right?
It's a battle of Youngstown. Let's send you to New York. John Saunders and Jesse Palmer for the Capital One Halftime Report. Take it away, John.
This is Dr. Pepper Championship Weekend.
We welcome you back to the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship here on ABC. That was the brand new single from Parachute, something to believe in. Download it now for free. ESPN.com music. And you can also enter to win tickets to the 2011 Rose Bowl game with the band. So with Kirk Herbstreit and Holly Rowe, I'm Brent Musburger. Thanks for coming on back. We had an exciting first half here, Herbie.
Boy, we had just about everything you'd hope for in a Big 12 championship game. We had one team look like they were ready to play and dominate the game, got up to a big lead, and give Oklahoma credit. They took advantage of a big turnover once the interception by Taylor Martinez was made, and I think it really changed the complexion of the game, gave them some energy and some life and some belief. The other thing is Oklahoma's offensive line really started to assert themselves and help out a lot of their skill.
And how about the Nebraska kicker?
Oh, yeah. Our guy, Alex Henry, getting it done. Wearing number 90. Holly Rowe says he's not wearing a special kicker's shoe. He's wearing regular shoes. I don't care if he's barefoot. Alex Henry's the best kicker I've ever seen. This guy's amazing. Who knows? Maybe this game comes down to an Alex Henry or Jimmy Stevens field goal.
You bet. If it comes down
this game
tight,
should, right? Last one.
The way it should be.
That's right.
Oklahoma and Nebraska bring down the curtain on their Big 12 battles. Remember, the Cornhuskers will move to the Big 10. We'll get a chance sometime in the second half. I want you to see their schedule next year. Apparently, athletic director Tom Osborne took a look at it. The commissioner, Jim Delaney, told me and said, "Whoa, what's this?" We'll show it to you tonight. O'Hara with the kickoff. And here comes Tim Marlowe. And Marlowe for the Huskers is cut down at the 24-yard line. And that was Box, the linebacker, who sliced him down as we take a look at the Pacific Life game summary here.
Yeah, Nebraska's been trying to establish the run, but they've made enough plays with the passing game. But you can see at the bottom there, third downs, Oklahoma yet to really get into sync. 1 of 8, Nebraska 3 of 9. Then at the bottom, points off turnovers, a big story here because that really is where Oklahoma's taken advantage of not just creating turnovers, but 10 points off of them.
You can see that Martinez has not been a threat running with the football. Injured ankle, turf toe, read option, and Helou going nowhere. Down to the 10-yard line. He exploded in the first half for a 66-yard touchdown. And let's go down below to Holly.
Nebraska coach Bo Pelini told me that the change from the first quarter to the second quarter with his defense was just some missed execution. He said, I thought we were pretty stout in that first quarter. We've just got to get back to assignment football. Also, I've noticed that their quarterback, Taylor Martinez, has a couple of fresh wrapped tape jobs around those ankles. And when I asked Bo Pelini, do you guys still have your mojo? Can you get that back? He said, oh, yeah, we're feeling good.
Well, they don't feel good about that 4-yard loss on the first play from scrimmage here because that brings up 2nd and 14. Here comes a blitz against it, and they hit it perfectly to McNeil for a 1st and 10, and that was well executed by receiver and quarterback for 15 yards.
And Brent, you mentioned Jonathan Nelson came on a blitz. He actually stopped and tried to elevate to knock the ball down, but I really think that these receivers, because of the size of Mike McNeil and Kyler Reed, they're getting matched up in space against linebackers and safeties, and because of their size, Taylor Martinez using that size to his advantage.
Gilliam is another one of the wideouts. They have not gone to him yet, Nebraska. And there's Martinez, and this will be 2nd down and long. And Helou got rocked that time.
And that's how you get after option football. Asked Bob Stoops on the field before the game, how do you try to deal with a zone read? He said it's very simple. It's assignment football. If you're going to take the read or the dive, you take him and take him out. If you have the quarterback, take him out. And that time it worked exactly the way, of course, Bob Stoops and Brent Venables want to see. That is only the 3rd design run, by the way, for Taylor Martinez tonight in this game.
Rides the option with Helou. No daylight. Nothing doing. Going to give ground. Austin Box, the junior from Enid, Oklahoma.
The pursuit of the Oklahoma defense, it was a slow developing play, Brent. You mentioned that, and I think it was just a help with the read with Martinez. But look how quick this defense is. Travis Lewis leading the way, and Austin Box, who the coaches tell you when number 12's in a game against a running team, we just seem to fit better as an entire defense. So 12 Box is key to this Sooners defense.
Freshman Corey Nelson from Dallas checks in defensively for the Sooners. They're going to put only 2 down. Now 3 come down with their hands on the turf. Martinez has to step away, and then he gets crushed. Macon again, and the ball comes loose. The umpire says Sooners have recovered it. The umpire is pointing that the Sooners have the ball, and indeed they do. Box came out of there.
Now they brought pressure here. You get Taylor Martinez in this offense in the 3rd down and long, and because he's still growing, Brent, as a quarterback, the ball definitely came out. But he's growing as a quarterback, and when he doesn't see his open man, he begins to panic, and he wants to trust his feet. Well, this time, Macon, again, the 3rd time he's been able to get in there and penetrate the Nebraska offensive line.
2 big turnovers by the quarterback. An interception going into the end zone, and now a fumble. Making 2nd sack of the game, and right away Landry Jones, he'll drop this one off. DeMarco Murray in a foot race picks up 10 yards and steps out of bounds.
We know this is where they like to pick up the tempo here. They not just a change of possession, but they pick up some yards and they get down into the red zone, and they're really going to try to put this defense on its heels. A big play that time by Murray, isolated one-on-one against David.
And they do it without substituting. Here they come again, this time DeMarco Murray slides across to the 8-yard line on that 1st down run. And the coaches are signaling keep on going. They're not substituting. And of course, that ties the Pelini's hands on the other side. Now they look back away, but because of the threat, there was no defensive substitution either. Now Landry Jones is ready to go. Here's DeMarco Murray, forced back to the inside. Osborne did a great job. Steinkuhler and Merritt are there, but I'll tell you, Osborne forces this man back in.
You and I are seeing the same thing. Osborne is safety. He's about 200 pounds. Look him get to the outside. Murray wanted to bounce that ball to the outside and try to pick up the 1st down, but Osborne read it perfectly, was in position, and Murray had nowhere to go but to try to cut it back inside, and that's where Steinkuhler and the rest of the black shirts were waiting.
Stills, Kenny, Hanna, Broyles, they're the receivers. Jones will drop off to Murray, and he'll be short of the 1st down. Pierre Allen making a good defensive play, and now the field goal unit trots onto the field.
Tight ends again. If Oklahoma gets down inside there, James Hanna, because of his size, and Trent Rattery, a matchup that I think Landry Jones, before this game is over, will take advantage of when they get inside that 10-yard line.
Nebraska has been hurt here tonight by turnovers. Just a 24-yard Stevens field goal attempt for the tie from the right half. He hit it to the right. No good. No good. A chance to tie, and Stevens slides it to the right, and the coach says, hang in there, you may get another chance. Hang with it.
Right away, keep your head up, right? He has to tell Jimmy Stevens that because he has a bit of a track record of losing his cool after a miss.
Nebraska football when you come back. Goal pocket right. Throw it out of bounds and stop the clock. McCoy may have run the clock out. Mack thinks there's a second left. A BCS championship appearance on the line for Texas. For everything. Got it. Texas goes to Pasadena. And it was Hunter Lawrence who hit that 46-yard field goal a year ago against Bo Pelini's Nebraska. Herbie, we had only 1 touchdown scored in that game. And Nebraska still remembers the kickoff out of bounds. And we have a penalty flag on this from the 20-yard line. Yeah. Remember, it gave the Longhorns field position as they started to come down for that winning field goal.
Yeah, there was so many things that happened just right for Texas late in that game. And, of course, the Pelini brothers were fairly fired up after that game, to say the least. The Nebraska fan base.
Fire in the belly.
52 weeks later, here they are again. Chance to leave this conference, head to the Big Ten as champions.
Burkhead is in now as the running back. Martinez. Nebraska's turned it over 3 times in their last 4 trips. Okay? They threw after scoring a touchdown and going up 17-0. They have started to turn it over.
You're right. And how about Fleming, the corner, showing a little physicality, getting off the block by Cotton, not only dealing with Cotton, who's 255 pounds, but he's able to get away from the block using his hands and then get down and showing his quickness to be able to make a play. Good job there by Fleming.
And the OU defense has Nebraska where they want it. Second and a bunch. Quick throw on a slant, complete. Snaps it off, and Brookmeyer, the senior from Aurora, Nebraska. Joe makes his first catch of the night.
Last play that they tried on a quick slant, Jonathan Nelson blitzed, and Taylor Martinez threw it right by him. This time they try Carter to try to see if he can get home. And again, Martinez throws the slant to the same side, off to the left.
3rd and 8, and they'll send Mike McNeil off to the slot on the right-hand side.
Comes pressure on 3rd and long.
Beals trying to get there. Martinez hit on the throw, incomplete. Couldn't get it deep enough. Kenny was open as he came toward the middle, but Martinez had no chance as Beal, operating as a stand-up rush man, a defense that Oklahoma State saw a lot of last week.
And it looks like Martinez might be a little sore, but Brent, you talked about Kenny working over the middle of the field, but they bring a little bit of pressure. Zone blitz, trying to confuse the offensive line. You see how Martinez, he sees him late, but he just panics, and that's youth and inexperience in throwing the football.
Broyles is back deep. Fair catch on the 38-yard line. This is the defense that Bob Stoops went to Tuscaloosa for, studied from Nick Saban. You see Beal in a stand-up spot as they come, and they put the heat on.
The Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship game on ABC. Brought to you by Dr. Pepper. There's nothing like a pepper. Nissan, proud partner of the Heisman Trophy. And Lee, getting comfortable never looked so good.
We'd like to thank the MetLife blimp for the unique overhead views of Texas Stadium. To gain a unique perspective on your financial security, visit MetLife.com today. The place where the Dallas Cowboys play, and it'll host the Super Bowl coming up in February. From the pistol look, Madu, the running back, and he is slapped down by Jared Crick. Number 94 played alongside Ndamukong Suh, and a flag comes flying also.
Looked like a hold there on the left tackle, Jarvis Jones.
Holding on the offense. 10-yard penalty. First down.
You asked me about Ndamukong Suh. He gave a lot of money to Nebraska. I think well over $1 million for a scholarship endowment. Playing with the Detroit Lions, doing well. You know, it's a team that's trying to come together. But you and I agree it was the most dominating performance by a defensive lineman we'd ever seen. 1st and 20. Drop it off quickly now and then let the running back see what he can do. That's Madu out of bounds on that far side, getting the safety into action over there on Madu.
They're bringing a little bit of pressure off the edge there with Meredith, and it puts Madu one-on-one to the outside. Safety a little bit late getting over, and you can see the quickness of Madu getting up that sideline pretty quickly.
2nd and 5. OU trails it by a field goal. Jones running away from pressure, guns it to the sideline for the first down, hit Kinney. Cameron Kinney had a wonderful game against Oklahoma State.
Well, he did a good job last week, and he did a good job there working back to the football to the far left. He's going down, then he's coming back against, again, Prince Amukamara, who's one of the top corners. He could not get downfield, adjust back when he sees his quarterback scramble. Great play there by the senior.
Now from midfield, Henry Jones has one 49-yard touchdown pass tonight. Play action. He'll throw it away. And there was no question about anybody jumping in the air and deflecting that one back into the field of play. I mean, Landry Jones had to look at that replay a few times this week with that Oklahoma State defensive back out there. So, are you kidding me?
Thanks to you, it was on SportsCenter about 37 times over the weekend.
Did they use it?
Yeah, quite a few times.
Well, you know,
it was play of the weekend.
Hannah said, that's not the play of the week. She said, that may be the play of the year.
Yeah.
It's a great. Landry Jones got a man deep. Broyles down to the 2-yard line. Ryan Broyles, a finalist for the Biletnikoff Trophy. And the Sooners are in business, first and goal, 47 yards.
This is a matchup between two great football players. A little out and up move by Ryan Broyles and the extension by the little guy and a focus to be able to hold on to the football. He just beat one of the top defensive backs also, not just Prince and Mukamara, but Eric Haig's a top flight player as well, and beat him on the out and up.
Murray Millard will be the lead fullback. Here comes number 7. And he is Crick. Slams him down. It'll be second down and goal.
Slowing their tempo down a little bit. See if they can overpower Nebraska. Tight formation.
On the play action. Got to put it up. Landry Jones has to throw it away. Nobody open. Didn't want to risk an interception. He'll live to fight on third down.
You're right about last weekend. It seems like when people aren't there, he's making a good decision, but he's putting it up with the band, up at about the 5th row. They are 1 of 9 on third down. They're going to go with a little bit more skill, bringing Stills and Broyles into the game here. Tough to execute against Nebraska down inside the 5 when you're going with that tight, big, strong formation. You need to try to spread them out and try to create some space.
Fire, end zone deflected, incomplete. 4th down, and here comes Stevens. Trots onto the field quickly. Remember, he missed his last one, and Stoops wants to get him right back into the heat of it. And there we have an injured receiver down there. That is Kenny Stills.
The intended receiver. Remember when Bob Stoops first saw Stevens come off the field, he knew there's a lot of game left, and he said, get your head up. Get your head up. We're going to need you to make more kicks.
This one looks like about a 25-yarder. Let me check that. It looks like a 20-yarder. Correct myself, and he slid that one through for the tie. Herbie, take a look at this and see if we get what happened here to the young man.
He's in obvious pain, and the ball was thrown a little bit high. They tried to isolate him one-on-one. Took a little bit of a hit there from Bernard, and the way he landed, I think, caused the injury.
The Jimmy V Classic, presented by Corona Extra, is on ESPN Tuesday from Madison Square Garden. First up, Memphis, Kansas. Then it'll be Michigan State, Syracuse. And folks, we're in the midst of Jimmy V Week to support the V Foundation for Cancer Research. And for more information, go to jimmyv.org.
You think this city will explode Super Bowl week?
It would have exploded a lot more if the Dallas Cowboys had gotten there.
Exactly. That was over in about 5 weeks into the season.
Still shaken up. Appeared to be a little shoulder injury there on the left side. He took a blow when he went down. O'Hara kicks it off. This one's returnable. From the 2 is Marlowe. He is thrown down on the 12-yard line by Lewis. Ronnell Lewis gets on him. And we're going to Robert Flores in New York. Robert?
All right, Brent, update on the ACC Championship game being played on ESPN. Virginia Tech's Tyrod Taylor has 4 touchdowns, 3 through the air, and this one sweet run using the trick stick to get into the end zone. Point after was blocked and returned for 2. Hokies lead 41-26. Connecticut still leading South Florida on ESPN2, 16-13. If UConn wins, they win the Big East Championship, and they're headed to a BCS Bowl. Brent.
And Robert, if they don't, West Virginia will slide into that spot. West Virginia beating Rutgers earlier today. So here it is, first down and 10. We are deadlocked at 20 for the Big 12 championship. Fumble, but Martinez goes back after it. McFarland punches the ball out. Take a look at this, and turnovers are really starting to bother this team.
And again, we mentioned this football team has fumbled the ball a lot, but they've been fortunate to get them back. You talk about a fortunate pop. Bounced right back to Taylor Martinez as he was falling and had Oklahoma defenders falling on top of him.
So they ride Burkhead. And he is slammed down as he crosses the 20-yard line. Herbie, again, if you go back to when it was 17-0, it's been for Nebraska interception, fumble, field goal, fumble, punt, and they have the ball right now. I mean, this game has turned completely around, and yet Bo Pelini and the Huskers are deadlocked at 20.
And I think the interception by Martinez changed the complexion of the game, got the momentum favoring Oklahoma, but also Brent Venables and Bob Stoops have done a good job of making this Nebraska defense now earn everything. They have to be able to throw the ball now to be able to move the ball.
So offensively, Martinez will put it up slant through behind the receiver. Gillian, Karinsky-Gillian, the junior from Texas.
And Brent Venables, his defense, you always hear coaches talk about being gap sound, being smart as far as how you fit against the run. You mentioned those numbers and those series and what's happened. It's because they've taken away Martinez in the Nebraska running game, and they're forcing the Huskers to have to throw to execute.
So here comes Henry. Not only can he kick field goals, but check this punt out. And Broyles is inside the 15, looking to pick up a couple of blockers if he gets an alley. And he is down at the 39-yard line. That's called out-punting your coverage, huh? Monday Night Football now, 8:30 Eastern. The Jets and the Patriots. Can anybody stop Tom Brady at home? The streak is unbelievable. 25 and counting, all right? If he wins over the Jets Monday night, it'll be the longest win streak at home for an NFL quarterback.
And you mentioned the injury to Jimmy Leonard. That's going to affect the Jets and the continuity and the communication on the back end. The timing of that obviously not very good going up against Brady on the road.
Murray and Finch come in now on that diamond look here for the Sooners offensively. Finch looks to break it out. Great first down run. Eric Hagg has to come up and make that stop.
Brent, it's a different tempo when Finch gets the football out of the diamond. He accelerates through the hole so fast, and I think it's just a different look, and he complements DeMarco Murray so well because of the different energy he brings to that backfield.
19 yards for Finch. He has 37 on the game. And end around with Franks. And he is slammed at the 40-yard line. Cameron Meredith, the defensive lineman over there, to make the stop. Total yards, Herbie, now 385 for Oklahoma, 231 for Nebraska.
Nebraska's been a team coming in that knew they had to be able to not only defend against the short passing game, but they had to hold up against the run. And this running game from Oklahoma has also helped change the complexion of this football game.
Play action. Jones on the move. Now he has to throw it, and Murray couldn't quite get the handle on it. I don't think Landry quite knew if he wanted to drop it off a little pace or rifle it out of bounds. Allen was pressuring the quarterback.
It's a good spot if they can get James Hanna, the big tight end, isolated against DeJuan Gomes, who's undersized. This is a matchup that Oklahoma likes to try to take advantage of if they have him one-on-one. He's off to the left of, on the tight end set, off to the left of the center.
Madhu is the running back on this third down for the Sooners. Crick sacks him back at midfield. Jared Crick, whom Ndamukong Suh told us was going to be a great defensive tackle, makes the sack.
This is just great coverage downfield. They took away all the options that that Landry Jones wanted to try to find. They tried to put two receivers off to the right. try to find an open receiver. They're covered, and that is a coverage sack, and Crick gets there. It's about disrupting the rhythm and timing between Jones and his wide receivers, and they did it that time.
Tressway back again to punt for the Sooners. It'll go into the end zone and come out on the 20. Well, as we take a look at this week's BCS standings, brought to you by Vizio, and of course by winning Oregon, and Oregon are headed to the BCS championship game on January 10th. TCU now figures to go to the Rose Bowl because of the ruling. They will play the Wisconsin Badgers in all likelihood. The team to go and check out tomorrow night at 8:15 on ESPN will be Stanford. Will the Orange Bowl bring them in to play Virginia Tech, or will they take West Virginia because of the fan base? We'll find out. Even Connecticut's still very much in the mix.
And Stanford gets the automatic spot in as an at-large, probably finishing in the top 4 of the BCS standings.
Burkhead is the running back. Martinez pulls it away, and he's going to be sacked. Frank Alexander is there. Helmet off of the quarterback.
Say right now, Nebraska's offensive line, because they cannot run the football and Martinez is being asked to have to throw, they cannot handle this speed of Oklahoma's defense. Travis Lewis that time came on the blitz. Price Macon again with his speed, being able to get in there to help out. Martinez loses the helmet, but at least holds on to the football that time.
So Herbie, that 62-yard drive that ended in interception. Then they had a 56-yard drive for a field goal, but they have really struggled. -1, 10, 2, 6, -5. They're just not doing anything. Martinez back underneath, drops it off. And a fine run here by Burkhead. Tough run.
Martinez is throwing the ball a lot more than what he would like. And we knew that coming in, that Oklahoma's going to load up to stop Martinez and Burkhead and Halou from running, put the game into the hands of Martinez and see if he could hurt him by throwing. He's -10 with his rushing. That's been a non-factor. But for Nebraska to come back and win this game on offense, he's going to have to make plays and be a difference maker with his ability to throw the football.
Remember the Texas Longhorns in Lincoln. There's a first down to McNeil. They tried to force the young man to throw the ball, as he did there, and not let him loose on the run. Oklahoma has kept him under control on the ground so far.
Yes, sir. And McNeil, because of his size, a great target this time for Martinez. He's kind of throwing off his back foot, but it gives McNeil a chance to make a play against Nelson, the safety.
McNeil shaken up as he goes to the far sideline. Martinez keeps it this time, trying to get the run going. And Frank Alexander is there defensively for the Sooners. Let's see how the young man walks away from that. Remember, he's playing with that bad right ankle. Turf toe on the other foot, playing through some pain right here. Second down and 6.
Brent, you mentioned the Oklahoma State game, and the Oklahoma State Cowboys did the same thing. They crowded the line of scrimmage. In that game, he threw for 323 yards and 5 touchdowns. That was Oklahoma State. This is Oklahoma and Arlington with a Big 12 championship on the line.
Hand off to Burkhead. Got the corner. What a tough runner he is for a first down. Quentin Carter, safety, makes the stop.
Look how many tackles he's able to shake off here. And he picks up a little bit of a block. There's 1, 2. The third tackler, finally, Carter is able to make the play. But if you're not having success running, one of the ways to try to get it going is have a guy like Burkhead in there who can shake off some tackles and give you a little bit of continuity on this offense.
Hello. Back in as the running back. Pulls it away from him, and he's going to try to throw it downfield. Can't find an open target. Stays on his feet, and then he is thrown down by the sack And that was Price Macon on top of him again. That is about the third time that this young man from Corpus Christi, Texas, played at Carroll High School there. He was a reserve defensive end a year ago, but what a force tonight.
Well, he's had a huge game against the run and the pass. They've moved him to the inside to play defensive tackle, but I'll tell you, Taylor Martinez needs to either throw this ball away or take off and go. The problem is Oklahoma's taking away his first option, and because of his inexperience, he panics when that first option is taken away and right away loses his vision downfield and starts to rely on his feet to make a play.
End of the third. Tied at 20. This presentation of the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship returns after this message and a word from our ABC stations. We start the fourth quarter. Second down and 18 for Martinez and the Cornhuskers. Martinez has been sacked 5 times tonight, and that won't get much. That was Brockmeyer's second catch of the night.
Good job of taking away that long around, making sure you're tight on coverage. But with Taylor Martinez, again, when he has to throw, it's something to keep in mind in the fourth quarter. He gets uncomfortable when his primary receiver is taken away. Remember, he's a freshman. He runs an offense, and it's geared as a zone read, and it's an option attack. And when he runs into a roadblock like Oklahoma's defense against the run, he gets uncomfortable if you take away that primary receiver.
Needs 14. Incomplete, forced to punt. Kenny the target.
Play developed pretty well, when you say, Brent, considering this is third down and long. He's locked in on his receiver, and he just doesn't get his feet aligned on third down. Does a good job of being patient and waiting for it. He locks in on Kenny, just throws it behind him. If he puts that in front of him, I tell you, because of Fleming falling, he's got a real shot to pick up that first down.
So here's one of their best weapons. And Henry booms this one back to Broyles on the 11-yard line. And here comes the wide receiver coming down that far sideline. And he has a fine return. That ball's going to be spotted at the 41-yard line, but there is a penalty flag thrown back near the line of scrimmage. There's a 29-yard return on the punt.
During the kick, holding, number 23, the receiving team. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down.
Well, we'll take a look at the Pacific Life game summary as we start quarter number 4. And you can see here in the second half, we had only a field goal in the third quarter.
Remember last week at Stillwater? It looked pretty similar, and then we exploded for 40 points combined between the Cowboys and the Sooners. May not get that tonight, but that's about what it looked like through 3 quarters last week.
Yeah, it sure did. Kenny Stills is back on the field, and that's good news for Oklahoma. Cameron Kinney, another one of the wide receivers, also out there, along with Trey Franks, the freshman from Orange, Texas. One big play could turn this game here in the fourth quarter. And now the linesman is coming over to Scott Novak. That's young Walt Coleman.
The enforcement for the foul happened during the kick. Therefore, by rule, we enforced them where the kick was caught. First down.
Bob, of course, wanted it where the return was able to end up, not where the ball was caught by Broyles.
So if he took it at the 11, they're spotting it back at the 5.5 is what they're doing. So where he caught the ball is the point. As you bring it back now, it's half the distance. And this is tough field position for Landry Jones. Gonna throw from the gun, from his end zone. Deflected, incomplete. throw to the middle and you get a deflected pass like that, you know what can happen. That Steinkuhler was back on it.
And Steinkuhler fighting in there with the offensive line. He's about actually right at the line of scrimmage and just ended up getting his hand up and knocking it down.
Second down. And on a misdirection, Madhu comes back and he's out to the 12-yard line.
This is a huge series for Oklahoma after that penalty to push them back. I mean, you're talking about a tie game in the fourth quarter. Field position, so important.
Third down. Need about 4 yards for the first down here. And it is very close. That was Kenny. Let's see where this ball is going to be spotted now.
Looks like they are marking it about half a yard short. Good patience this time by Landry Jones. Remember, he's standing on his own 5-yard line. Eventually finds Kenny, but he comes up a little bit short, and Bob Stoops didn't hesitate in sending in the punter, Tressway.
Haig is down. He's injured.
Bob's still fired up about the penalty called on that return by Broyles.
And this is a big injury for the Huskers with Eric Haig down. Can't grab him and hold it. Coach is right about that. Fourth down, way on the field. And in the battle of field position because of that penalty, Nebraska is going to have an advantage here early in the fourth quarter. The line of scrimmage was moved from the 42-yard line back to the 6. Because of that penalty, remember. So here we go. Tressway, the punter for OU. Fair catch is the signal at the 42-yard line. Burkhead makes the grab. When you come back, Nebraska with good field position, but can they move the ball? Well, congratulations to Virginia Tech. They're wrapping up the ACC championship, and tomorrow at 8:15 you'll find out who will play the Hokies in the Orange Bowl. And then stay right with that show, because at 9 all of the bowl matchups will unfold. Of course, Oregon and Auburn battled their way to the title game today. Wisconsin and TCU figure to go to Pasadena for the Rose Bowl. It'll all become official tomorrow at 8:15. Gonna go with the Wildcat. Gonna go with Burkhead, and why not? Burst free across the 40. A brilliant run before Jonathan Nelson can come up, but it's 19 yards, Herbie.
This time they're going to read Price Macon. 94 comes down on Halou. Burkhead does a nice job reading it. Remember, he's a running back playing quarterback. See how Macon came down on the runner? That indicates a keep for the quarterback. And Burkhead flashing back to his high school days, running that flawlessly from the Wildcat.
Keeping him right there. I mean, this is starting to resemble the old single wing, with Burkhead taking it away. Down to the 32. Nelson again forced to make it. His number 22 driving the Huskers.
And see Macon again coming down on Halou. It's a little bit different right now when you come down on assignment football and take the dive away with Macon. This isn't Taylor Martinez with a gimpy ankle. This is a great running back with some shifty moves, able to accelerate upfield. This is what Taylor Martinez used to be able to do from the zone read.
So now Martinez splits out as a wide receiver. He's down at the bottom of your screen. Fumble! Oklahoma recovery. Travis Lewis. He's had an interception and 2 fumble recoveries tonight. Number 28, a senior from San Antonio, Texas.
I don't mean to come down all on Mike Caputo, but this was not because Burkhead is taking the direct snap. Look at that snap off to the left. Actually, Burkhead makes a good effort with his left hand to try to hold on to the football. But you said it, Brent. Number 28 in white has been all over the field tonight for the Sooners, and he comes up with a football again.
He was all Big 12 first team a year ago. High school, he played linebacker and running back. Looks like he's a little shaken up as he goes over there, huh? Robert E. Lee High School in San Antonio. Folks, they turn out some real good football players at that high school. DeMarco Murray in as the running back. 4 Nebraska turnovers, 3 fumbles, and an interception here tonight. Landry Jones, great play action. Drops it back off to Murray, the man he faked to, and Murray crosses midfield.
Well executed, great patience, nice job by the offensive line. Off of that action, typically he goes way downfield, and what that does is it forces Nebraska to drop deep in coverage, and then he simply just drops it down to Murray.
Another play action from Landry under enormous pressure. He has to drop it off to avoid the sack because Crick was coming at him again.
Jared Crick, it seems like we're starting to call a lot of these names for both defenses over and over and over. And Jared Crick is having a field day as well. When Oklahoma drops back to throw, it seems inevitable that 94 for Nebraska is getting after him and pressuring him all night.
Just another great Nebraska-Oklahoma game. Won't we all miss this rivalry? Murray motions out to the right. Jones is in trouble. Sacked again, and Mr. Crick is there. He's starting to resemble Ndamukong Suh here tonight.
I think he was even held, and he still was able to get in there. Look at Eichert get his right arm hooked in there with Jared Crick. There was a penalty down. It looked like he was held, but he still got by him. Talk about taking a game over. Something about this stadium and Nebraska defensive linemen in the Big 12 championship. Declined the penalty to set up this 3rd and a mile.
They want the game clock reset here so the officials will get it straight. So the clock is going to be reset. It is amazing that Nebraska is in the thick of this, having turned it over 4 times, 3 fumbles and an interception. But they've had a great field goal kicker. They've been opportunistic. They had Helu go 66 yards for the first touchdown. They had a running back throw a touchdown pass, and they're right here. Trouble again, steps away from Mr. Crick, fires back middle, got his man. Thrown out of bounds is Cameron Kinney, and they were trying to strip him as he was tossed out of bounds.
That effort by Kinney, I bet you Bob Stoops is going to go for this. This is 3rd and 24. They're playing man to man. You're isolated one-on-one. Jones buys all the time that he can to give Kinney enough time to clear to get in front of him, and that effort sets up now a 4th and short, 3rd and 24 to now 4th and 1.
They're 1 of 3 on 4th downs here tonight. This is the 4th time they've gone for it on 4th down. They make it again with Kinney. And Amukamara rides him to the ground, but not before Kinney picks up the 1st down for the Sooners.
I tell you, Kinney makes big plays, and Landry Jones is clutch.
Now the handoff to Murray. DeMarco trying to get the edge, and he is pushed out of bounds here on the near side.
The game we called last week, Landry Jones seemed to play better and get into more rhythm as a passer late in that game when the pressure was on, and it's deja vu a week later now in a Big 12 championship. Big moments. How will he step up? The offensive line's giving him time, and he puts the ball in the money.
2nd and 5. A Offensive line gives it great time this time. High. Kenny pulls it down. Amakamara right on him, and the spot will determine whether it's a first down or not.
You mentioned Cameron Kenny.
Got it.
Last week, Brent, 6 catches, 141 yards, and 2 touchdowns. A senior that had a career day last week is stepping up again a week later.
Here's DeMarco Murray for tough yards.
You're going to have to earn it against Nebraska's defense down in the red zone. And DeMarco Murray, who's always had great skill, was questioned, how is his knee going to hold up after last week? Late in this game as a senior, he wants a championship, showing some toughness there on that run.
End zone, incomplete.
Look who's on coverage there, Eric Haig, who's back in the game, which is so important for Nebraska's defense. It's a great matchup. Remember, Broyles got the best of him earlier on an out and up. This time, he's got some separation. He's there, and Landry Jones just missed him, and he had to extend himself just a little bit too much.
3rd and 5 for the Sooners. In trouble and has to throw it away. And here comes Stevens and the field goal team onto the field.
There's Broyles right here, and here's Haig. He's just going to go out and down, trying a little wheel route here. But watch how Haig drops into coverage, sinks, and then takes it away. That's exactly where Landry Jones was looking, and all he could do is throw the ball away and set up Stevens here for potentially a go-ahead field goal.
27 yards. For the lead. Oklahoma 23, Nebraska 20. You're watching the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship on ABC.
The Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship game on ABC. Brought to you by Dr. Pepper Cherry with a little kiss of cherry flavor. Polaris. See the hardest working, smoothest riding off-road vehicle now at your local dealer. And Liberty Mutual Insurance. Responsibility. What's your policy?
Well, area coverage being provided by the MetLife Blimp. See how MetLife can provide the coverage you need. Start building your personal safety net with MetLife today. If you get a chance, even if you don't see a ball game down here, take one of the tours of this fabulous stadium. The house that Jerry built. It'll house a Super Bowl. I know how disappointed he is in the overall performance of the Dallas Cowboys, but looks like young Mr. Garrett might have a future as a coach, and they'll be back.
Oh, of course.
So here we go. High kickoff. Fielded on the 15 by Marlowe, and Marlowe to the 31, and we go to New York and Robert Flores. Robert?
Brent, this is the kick that sent Connecticut to a BCS Bowl. Dave Teggart, career-long 52-yarder to give the Huskies a 19-16 lead. They hold on, and they win the Big East. Meantime, it has indeed gone final, highest-scoring ACC championship game in history. Virginia Tech 44, Florida State 33. Hokies win 11 in a row after starting the season 0-2. Brent.
Congratulations to both of those teams. I know you agree with me. Randy Edsall and the Huskies, man, what a great story. In underneath, and now the Huskies will find out if they're going to the Orange Bowl to play Virginia Tech, or maybe out to play the winner of this game in a Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, and also a great job by Frank Beamer. You can see the last 5 tries and how it's gone for Nebraska. The fumble, 3 straight punts, and another fumble. What's not shown there is a few more fumbles that they were fortunate to recover. But yeah, Frank Beamer, the job that he and Tyrod Taylor did after losing early. Big season for them.
Yeah, magnificent. Incomplete. Through to double coverage. Wanted Kenny that time. Travis Lewis is there. And what a big-time game he's having.
Absolutely. And Rex Burkhead, by going to the flat, actually took Travis Lewis to the play. He was kind of mirroring the running back off to the left. He's kind of following Burkhead, and then he sees the ball's up, and he has a chance to get up there and knock that ball away. He's saying, man, I could add another turnover.
Huge play for the Cornhuskers. Down 3, 3rd down and 6, 7.5. They got a great leg if they can just get down the field. Need the 6 here. Offensive line holds up. Now there's a holding call, however. The referee threw the penalty flag. A helmet also came off. That's Stacey McGee's helmet, is it?
Personal
right there? No,
foul,
hold on.
hands to
That's
the face
Alexander's.
on the offense, number 71.
Alexander
Penalty
picks it up.
decline. 4th down.
So here comes 4th down.
Searles, the left tackle. Martinez this time showing some patience. He's right there with Frank Alexander. His right hand gets up into the face of Alexander, knocks his helmet off. Martinez trying to pick up the 1st down, and because he comes up well short, they decline the penalty and set this 4th down up.
And McGee rocked the quarterback. So now the Sooners will try to eat a lot of time off this clock, and they were going to go for the fake, but timeout had been called. Wow!
The ball was snapped. Timeout, Oklahoma.
Wow! Oklahoma saw it.
Timeout on the field.
Oklahoma read it.
And the two Youngstown guys playing backyard football, going back and forth with each other.
There will be no Mad Hatter miles on me, Mr. Stoops says. There will be no fake of this punt. Here he comes.
Wow, that is a huge timeout by Oklahoma and he's fired up. Cotton, it was set up probably just the way they wanted it.
You can read his lips, folks, or part of it. Snap the ball. Maybe an adjective or two. Timeout.
Well, late in this game, Bo Pelini sneaks in 3rd-string quarterback Zach Lee, and Bob Stoops is right here. Watch the way he pays attention when he sees Lee go into motion. Right away, he says, wait, something's up. Timeout, right before the ball is snapped. Good job by the officials of catching that.
So here comes Henry. Fair catch. What a leg. He may kick for 50 years in the NFL. And finalists for the Home Depot College Football Awards were announced, and congratulations to Ryan Broyles of Oklahoma, finalist for the Blitnikoff Award for Best Receiver, along with Justin Blackman, Oklahoma State. Ashton Jeffrey of South Carolina in the 20th Annual Home Depot College Football Awards, Thursday, 7 Eastern on ESPN. And there are your 3 finalists for that big-time award. So here we go. Landry Jones and the Sooners will try to bring some time off of his. Play action to Finch, just like last week in Stillwater, and that was very, very dangerous. Amu Kamara was back deep.
And Brent, he actually gets so physical with Broyles, he knocks him out of bounds before the ball's in the air. You talk about a physical corner, Prince Amu Kamara, 6'1", 205, and he's been going back and forth with Broyles. That time he got the best of him.
And he's a Jim Thorpe finalist as the best defensive back.
How great is that, going head-to-head?
2nd and 10. Hand off to Murray. And DeMarco Murray. So here are the 2 stars. They matched up here tonight.
Crazy thing is Prince does not have an interception on the year, but you can see he has 13 pass breakups. He's number 5, incidentally, on the team in tackles, which, again, I love to see corners that are willing to come up and run support, not just cover the receivers.
David is down. Here's number 4. He's an outstanding football player. When you look at some of the individual statistics here tonight, DeMarco Murray has rushed for 63 yards, and they have been tough yards. He's carried it 15 times. He's averaged 4.2. Young Roy Finch, number 22, has carried it 8 times for 37 yards and averaged 4.6 yards. 448 yards of offense for Oklahoma. 279 for Nebraska. As we remind you to stay tuned for the Ford wrap-up after the game. And a reminder, fans, to log on to bcstailgate.com for your chance to win the ultimate tailgate F-150.
Good to see David up and walking it off. Seems to be holding his right side. He's the #1 tackler, not just tonight, but on this team. Coming in as a junior college linebacker, has stepped up very, very well for the Nebraska defense this year. And put Will Compton, the sophomore, in there for him.
3rd and 3. Near side, out of bounds. And that will bring up 4th and 3. And Oklahoma is very lucky that a holding call was not made against the offensive line.
And you give a win that time late in the game when you need a stop. The Nebraska cornerbacks on both sides. One time it was Prince Amukamara. That time Alfonso Dennard steps up and makes the plays that they have to get the ball back to Taylor Martinez in Nebraska's offense.
It's big here. Field position would at least give Nebraska a shot at a tie if they can move down the field here. And this is not a good punt. This is going to be big hot for Nebraska. And out of bounds against Nebraska. So away with a 41-yard punt, but he got the hop. ABC's Winter Wipeout. Same show with snow. More spills, thrills, lots of chills. Winter Wipeout premieres Thursday, January 6th on ABC.
Here comes Burkhead and that Wildcat again.
Looking to see if they can move the ball. Burkhead on a great read option. Crosses midfield. Hurst makes the stop. Now the great kicker, Henry's had a 53 tonight.
And Brent, this time Burkhead sees that there's nowhere to go on the right side. This is the bonus round with Burkhead running the zone read. Instead of trying to make something happen with either the give or himself running right, recognizes Oklahoma's defense off to the left, collapse down, and he cuts back and picks up again huge yards.
The quarterback comes out wide as the split end. And it's Burkhead for the first down to the 40-yard line.
Remember, don't forget, he played quarterback in high school, both his sophomore and junior year. And you know, one thing about him is he is slippery and quick and tough. He's able to run right through arm tackles. He does have that one attempt again tonight for a touchdown pass to Kyler Reed.
They're keeping him right there, and they're keeping Martinez out wide to the right. Tripped up. Might have got a couple yards out of it. Jeremy Beal. And there is Henry. He has a career long of 57 yards. 2 long field goals tonight. They trail it by 3. And that career field goal came back in 2008, as you can see on that graphic. Cotton, one of the tight ends. 2nd down and 8.
Nebraska able to run the football here to start this drive, something they've not been able to do the last 6 drives.
Legate, Tyler Gate, who's in this backfield with Burkhead. Bring Marlowe through the formation, and now Burkhead in trouble, throws it down the middle. Martinez, incomplete. Ibaloi was pressuring Burkhead that time in a foot race, but they almost pulled this off.
Well, you had a feeling that eventually they were going to try to get it to Martinez, but watch the action right here with Burkhead. You knew eventually they might go to it, and he had Taylor Martinez all alone. If it wasn't for the rush, he would have been able to make a throw and maybe add to 4 attempts and 4 touchdowns. But the late throw, Nebraska catches a break because Fleming drops the ball.
Fleming was able to play catch-up, though, Herbie, and That broke that up. Who knows? Martinez back under center. They're going to throw it. Can't find a receiver. He'll dance now. In trouble. Fumble on the ball. Battle for it. There's a scrum on the field. And again, Martinez limps away after making a recovery. That's twice tonight. He's recovered his own fumble.
And when you take away the primary, Brent, I just talked about it. I've been talking about it all night. Because of his youth, he just starts to panic. He starts to rely on his feet. He doesn't come off his primary and find his second or third option. And he starts to look around for where can I run. But against this Oklahoma defense, they're containing him. How fortunate is he that the ball once again fell back into his arms for a recovery.
That's the 6th sack. And there is a penalty flag on. The ruling on the field was a fumble recovered
Offside.
by the
Defense
offense. And
number
now
84.
we've got
penalty.
offside.
Fourth down.
There's some mass confusion there. Frank Alexander running on a little bit late.
I'm not so sure about the end of that sequence, Herbie. Nebraska was bringing the ball down the field. They trailed only by 3. They suddenly go down deep toward Martinez, a quarterback as a wide receiver. They were moving the ball pretty well from the Wildcat with Burkhead on the ground. There's the fair catch back at the 10. Now they're up against it on the clock, putting themselves in a hole at the end of that sequencing of those play calls.
Interesting that they tried to catch Oklahoma's defense off guard. If Burkhead was ready to throw and he had time, he did have him open. Boy, but the second and third down backfired on him. But let's not forget, Nebraska has 3 timeouts. Oklahoma hasn't had a lot of consistent success tonight running the ball. So you've got to believe that Nebraska still is going to get this ball back. And a shot with Alex Henry, our guy, to try to kick it to maybe get it into overtime.
Yeah, I'm getting that down for Henry as much as I can. DeMarco Murray.
Yeah.
There's a toss play to number 7. To stay in bounds, and David back on the field makes the tackle.
Boy, great job by Levante David. Nebraska knows they've got to make plays right now. They need a 3 and out. And who do they go to? Levante David, who's just able to go right by Gabe Eichert, the left guard, could not make the block. And again, because of the acceleration and speed of David going right by him.
Landry Jones up under center with Murray in the... You can see they're just running time down.
Yep.
They're bringing that play clock down before they snap it. Precious seconds are running away on Nebraska. Here's Murray out to the 15. Reminder to stay tuned after the game for your late local news over most of these ABC stations. Then over on ESPN, you can turn over to SportsCenter for post-game analysis of this one, and you'll find out about Auburn and Oregon going to the BCS championship. Congratulations to Gene Chizik. Remember when there was a time when folks were unhappy about him being named head coach at Auburn? None of that tonight, huh? See, they're just bringing time down. It was such a critical possession for Nebraska.
It's a huge third down, obviously, here, Brent.
Drops it off, and it is complete to Kenny Stills. And short of the first down, so it'll be 4th down, and here comes the punter. Now, don't be surprised if Nebraska doesn't come after him.
Yeah.
The Cornhuskers are going to call timeout. You're going to see some black shirts out there.
Nebraska jumped in. Bo Pelini jumped in right away. This is exactly what Bo Pelini needed. After having that last drive fail on them with some questionable play calling, they needed a 3 and out because if Oklahoma was able to secure a first down, then it starts to become a game where you just hope to maybe get a shot maybe late in the game. Now, I know there's 2 minutes and 1:59 to go. They're going to get pretty good field position right here, and they're going to have 2 timeouts left.
Great job defensively for Nebraska when you consider the fact that Oklahoma, on 3rd down tonight, 1 of 16. Now, Tressway's last punt was not a good one. They're going to set a return. Here is Burkhead. Slips free. 35. Burkhead out to the 41. So the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl is at stake tonight. Following the Rose Bowl on January 1st, the winner here will play at large, and that could be the winner of the Big East, Connecticut, or it could be Stanford of the Pac-10. You'll find out tomorrow night at 8:15 on ESPN when everything becomes official.
They need about 20 yards to give Henry a chance at his career long of 57.
Burkhead is alongside Martinez. So there is the quick slant to Brockmeyer. He's got about 3 catches here tonight.
It's interesting. They're going back to Martinez, feeling that they need to have a little bit more of a veteran, experienced player back there taking these snaps.
2nd and 7. Here's the blitz, and they sacked him again. Tony Jefferson, the freshman from Chula Vista, California, rolls through, and that's the 7th sack of the night.
You get Nebraska into a passing situation, you're going to have some success as a defense. Austin Box, they brought the house. They brought one more than Nebraska could handle. Here comes the freshman, Jefferson. He's scot-free. The right guard, Ricky Henry, late to come out. Good call there by Brent Venables and Bob Stoops.
Oklahoma, 2 plays away from going to Glendale and playing in the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. They face a 3rd down and then a 4th down. Nebraska tonight, 284 total yards. They are 4 of 16 on 3rd down, so they're not favored here.
McNeil, 44, is off to the right in the slot. Tyler Reed is off to the left. Both have had some success on quick slants for Taylor Martinez, where he gets the ball out of his hand fast.
Near side, complete, but short of the 1st down. Out of bounds, Brandon Kinney, and they keep the clock moving. So he was stopped.
That's a big play and a great throw by Martinez. A good call to get the ball out and get it out of his hands to set up a shot here at 4th down.
Here's your ball game.
Nebraska called a timeout before the play.
Timeout has been called. Timeout. The fans were already celebrating, but there was a timeout. And that's the last timeout for Bo Pelini and Nebraska.
Well, if you're Oklahoma, you've had a ton of success at bringing pressure. And you know they're going to do that in this situation. And if you're Nebraska, you're thinking about the quick slant to try to get the ball again out of the hands of Martinez.
Here they go, just trying to give Henry a chance to send this game to overtime. That'll do it. Oklahoma goes to the desert. The Sooners have won the Dr. Pepper Big 12 championship. The victory formation will come out here. Huge crowd on hand, larger than a year ago, 78,810. And Big Red will head to the Big Ten.
Brent, I just talked about how important you knew Nebraska would probably try a quick slant to get the ball out. Nebraska trying to get a chance, trying, as you said, to get it to Henry, but tight coverage by Hurst took away the quick slant. Nowhere to go with the football. 4th down. Martinez is back. The ball's thrown behind him a little bit, but I'll tell you, Oklahoma didn't feel threatened downfield. They knew it was going to be a quick throw, so they tightened up their coverage, and they took away any chance at all for Kenny or any of the other Nebraska wide receivers to make a play. Good job by Bob Stoops, and again, Venables tightening their coverage up there on 4th and short.
A winner again in the Dr. Pepper Big 12 championship game. Bob Stoops and the Sooners. They'll be playing either Connecticut or Stanford. We'll find out for sure tomorrow night. So the two friends from Youngstown, Ohio. What a night for that young man, Travis Lewis. Let's go down to Holly Rowe with Coach Stoops.
Well, Coach, they had a chance to get within field goal range. How nervous were you on that last play?
You know, you don't have time for nerves. You're just playing ball. Kids did a great job, and, you know, the assistant coaches had some nice calls at the end, and kids made plays.
Your defense took control of this game, created some turnovers, and changed the course of the game. How do you describe their performance?
Really well. You know, in the first half, we weren't bad. We had 2 bad plays in the first half. And I told the kids, you ought to be encouraged at halftime. Of all their yards, they got 90 of them on 2 plays. The rest of it, we were playing the run game great, getting after the quarterback, forcing turnovers. Just stick with it.
Another classic Nebraska-Oklahoma game. What sense of nostalgia do you have, Coach, as they leave?
Yeah, it's pretty special. It's pretty neat, really. The history here and the great coaches before us. So I just feel fortunate and lucky.
Thank you.
Blessed. Thank you.
Well, Travis Lewis tonight came in as the leading tackler for this Oklahoma team, but he was the master of the turnover. Throwing against his body, Travis picked one off in the end zone, which may have been the biggest play of the game. Then in the second half, he recovered his first fumble. The young man from San Antonio wasn't finished. An interception and 2 fumble recoveries, and certainly he's tonight's unrivaled player of this game, brought to you by Dr. Pepper. And overall, Herbie, this Oklahoma defense, 14 tackles for a loss for 60 yards. An unbelievable performance defensively for the Sooners.
We knew coming into this game that Oklahoma was going to make it tough on Nebraska and their running game. And that's Nebraska's strength. You knew that Nebraska was going to have the ability to execute in the passing game to have a chance to move the ball down the field. And Bo Pelini just told Holly Rowe, hey, outside of a couple plays, we made it tough on them. In fact, the last 8 series, Nebraska couldn't do anything, whether it was a turnover or a punt. So give credit to Oklahoma's defense and Travis Lewis stepping up.
Yeah, no question. And when you think about the big picture today, the stage is set for the championship game, of course. Auburn blew out South Carolina for the SEC title. Oregon was battling Oregon State for a while in the Civil War. Then they, too, pulled away. So there's no doubt about what's going to happen. As for Oklahoma, Herbie, they will head to the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl.
You know, Bob Stoops has an amazing record now. Looking back when we had a Big 12 North and a South, he's been able to come into this game and really control things and dominate these championship games. But it's very fitting. I mean, 2 great friends going toe-to-toe in the last Big 12 championship game here in Arlington, and it goes down to the wire, and Oklahoma ends up heading to the BCS and has a great year, and again, the final season of what we know as the Big 12.
All right, let's go down to Holly Rowe with the man of the hour, Travis Lewis.
Well, Travis, you were all over the field in this game. What was so intense about you tonight?
We wanted it. We wanted this bad. You know, this has been a long season. We've been tested in so many ways. We've been up against the wall. We had our backs against the wall. We came out here, and we defense totally dominated.
You guys were under fire early in this season. Everybody wondered what was wrong with the defense. How fitting is it that on the last play that Nebraska has a chance, it's a defensive stop?
It says what kind of guys we have on this team. We got a lot of guys with character, a lot of guys that really wanted this, and we're bringing the championship home.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And with that championship, well, here comes their reward. A trip to the desert, Glendale, Arizona, the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl on January 1st, 8:30 Eastern on ESPN. Oklahoma will play either Connecticut or Stanford. We will find out tomorrow night at 8:15. Make sure you are tuned in to ESPN. The final BCS countdown, 8:15 Eastern for the official unveiling of each BCS Bowl matchup. Will it be Wisconsin and TCU in the Rose Bowl? And then at 9 Eastern, the Bowl Selection Special. Now we take you to Times Square, the Ford Wrap-Up, John Saunders and Jesse Palmer. Take it away, Big John.
Thanks a lot and welcome to the Ford Wrap-Up.